Chapter 1952. The moment the bright sun demon died, many of the abyssal demons were scared out of their wits. Impossible! Even the bright sun demon was killed by this human. This human is only at the middle stage of the transcendence realm. How can he have such power? Damn it! Who's the monster here? 2 Overlord-class demons were actually slaughtered by him. Then which abyssal demon here is a match for this human? Where's Skyheart Demon? Where did he go? Fuck, he ran long ago. It's not your first day knowing that guy. When he's in danger, he runs faster than anyone else. Fucking Skyheart Demon. To think he's an Overlord demon. I didn't expect him to be so cowardly. Many of the abyssal demons were so angry their faces turned green. They had been fighting with their lives to block this human's attack. Unexpectedly, that Skyheart demon had already run away. But there was nothing they could do. To be honest, Skyheart demon was the strongest among all the demons here. If it wanted to run, no one could catch it. Due to the death of the glorious sun demon and 9 underworld demon, the confidence of the demons present was completely shattered. No one dared to attack Xiaoping anymore. They all stayed where they were, thinking about how to escape. It was very difficult to unite these abyssal demons. Without an overlord demon to lead them, they wouldn't listen to anyone else. They would be like a plate of loose sand. The spear of underworld is too strong. Xiaoping didn't care what the abyssal demons were thinking. Since they didn't attack, he didn't plan on killing them. After all, he needed these cannon fodder to help him block the heaven's wrath. He was now immersed in understanding the bloodline mystique. He was very grateful that he killed the bright sun demon with one move. He felt that this newly born bloodline mystique, the spear of underworld, was too powerful. It directly targeted the soul. Once this move hit the enemy would definitely die. It was like the god of the underworld descending to harvest the soul. For enemies with powerful physical bodies, this was a natural nemesis. After all, a strong body was useless against the spear of underworld. If the soul wasn't strong enough, it would be harvested. It was like the soul reaper demanding one's soul. Once the spear struck, the soul shattered. Boom! Xiaoping made his move again. With a grab, it was as though he had grasped the yin and yang in his hand. The void around them froze, and the luminous sun demon's corpse, which had been torn to pieces in the air, rapidly knitted itself back together. In the next second, the corpse of the sun demon was refined by the sun furnace. The impurities were removed, leaving behind only the essence. Finally, it turned into a relic the size of a watermelon. The relic condensed from the essence of the glorious sun demon was simply too powerful. Not only did it contain boundless spiritual energy, but it also contained extremely pure fire energy. There seemed to be a bright sun devil living in the depths of the relic. It was deducing all kinds of fire runes and scriptures, as if it could comprehend the origin of all fire cultivation methods in the abyss world. After all, the bright sun demon was a powerful sun born in the abyss world and was regarded as a substitute for the sun. It was born with a trace of fire divinity. There was an immortal aura in the depths of its bloodline. This was also the bloodline of a divine beast. This would be of great help to Xiaoping in condensing the Golden Crow Hell bloodline. Crash, thinking of this, Xiaoping did not say anything else. He immediately activated the sun furnace and rapidly refined the relic formed by the bright sun demon, devouring the flames of divinity contained within. In an instant, the relic fused into Xiaoping's limbs and bones. It fused with his magic power, his cultivation method, and even the depths of the Golden Crow Hell bloodline. Countless fire runes from the bright sun demon rapidly passed through his body and surged into the depths of Xiaoping's Dantian energy sea. They rapidly condensed into a flame seed. Pa. Stimulated by the bright sun demon's origin energy, Xiaoping felt the Golden Crow Hell cells in his body awaken rapidly. Originally, he had already awakened 100 million Golden Crow Hell cells in his body. If he wanted to continue awakening, he would need to expend an extremely large amount of energy. Awakening was also extremely difficult. However, after obtaining the origin energy of the bright sun demon, the flames of divinity, it was like pouring oil on a fire. It was as if he had eaten a complete tonic. The enormous golden crow hell cells were awakening rapidly. 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, 70 million, 100 million, 100 million, 130 million. In the end, he had awakened 200 million golden crow hell cells. In other words, he had awakened 300 million golden crow hell cells. What a powerful bloodline power! Xia Ping felt that after awakening 300 million golden crow hell cells, his strength had increased by leaps and bounds. He had reached a whole new level. His control of the golden crow hell powers had become even more perfect. His eye of hell, eye of the golden crow, wings of the golden crow, heart of the golden crow, claws of the hell, spear of the infernal deity, and all of his other bloodline divine abilities had been upgraded by leaps and bounds. Even more unknown golden crow runes appeared in the depths of his blood, causing his blood to appear dark gold. It seemed to be giving birth to traces of an undying aura. This was the initial characteristic of a mythical creature. In the distance, many abyssal demons had noticed this as well. Their expressions were grave. They could feel that the human in front of them seemed to have turned into a giant furnace, emitting boundless heat. He was like the blazing sun in the sky, eternal and unchanging. They felt like they would be burned by the heat just by getting close. Countless amounts of abyssal devil energy melted under the heat like snow. Damn it, this human seems to have become even stronger. What's going on? Is there no limit to how much his strength can increase? This is too exaggerated. Some abyssal demons were very afraid. This human was already terrifying enough. Now, his strength had increased by another level. His strength was unfathomable. He clearly didn't want them, the abyssal demons, to live. This isn't a human. He's a monster. I've never seen such a terrifying human. His strength is constantly increasing. There's no limit. Many abyssal demons were completely frightened by Xia Ping. Fear was planted deep in their hearts. In the sky, countless red tribulation clouds seemed to sense Xia Ping's aura rising. They became even more furious. This was seen as a provocation against the laws of the universe. Rumble. In an instant, countless bolts of bright red lightning descended. It was like a sea of lightning, drowning the entire area. It seemed like it was going to raze this place to the ground and completely destroy it. Xia Ping was in the center of the bright red lightning. He was almost submerged by the tribulation lightning. However, he was neither happy nor sad. His strength was different from before. He had awakened 300 million golden crow hell cells. He was much stronger than before. Dong. Chapter 1953. 3 days and 3 nights passed in an instant. The 81 waves of lightning tribulation were finally about to end. Xia Ping stood where he was, his hair disheveled, his clothes tattered, and many wounds on his body. Blood flowed freely, and he looked very wretched. But he was still in high spirits, and his emotions were not dispirited. After all, he had gone through 81 waves of lightning tribulation, and this still hadn't killed him. This was enough to make him proud. In the sky, the huge red tribulation clouds were very unwilling to give up and refused to dissipate for a long time. But the power of the heavens' tribulation had already been vented out, and it could no longer strike down. In the end, there was no other way. The red tribulation clouds also quickly disappeared, as though returning to the depths of the middle dimension. At this moment, everything within a radius of tens of billions of kilometers had been bombarded beyond recognition. Countless mountains had been flattened, and there were craters everywhere, like the surface of the moon. Even the surrounding area was filled with the thick aura of lightning tribulation. Even if thousands of years passed, it probably wouldn't dissipate. As for the many abyss demons that Xia Ping had trapped within the range of the heavens tribulation, they were all struck to death by the lightning tribulation. They turned to dust and nothing was left. At the start, these abyss demons could still barely hold on. But after the 72nd wave, each wave was stronger than the previous one. This way, the many abyss demons could no longer hold on, and were all killed by the red lightning. As for the 81st wave, its power increased by tens of times, and it was like the end of the world. Only Xia Ping was still alive, and the other abyss demons were all killed. No matter where they hid, the abyss demons were all killed. Before dying, they cursed Xia Ping furiously, hoping that this human would die a horrible death. Unfortunately, no matter how these abyssal demons cursed him, Xia Ping remained unscathed. He was still as lively as ever. Of course, the scattered soul energy of these abyss demons was also devoured and refined by Xia Ping. He condensed them into soul crystals, and they were all stored in the mountain river pearl. Now, he had millions of soul crystals on him. This was an earth-shattering amount of wealth. But the corpses of those abyss demons had all been blasted to smithereens by the red lightning. Otherwise, these corpses would be good materials. It's finally over. Xia Ping immediately breathed a sigh of relief. To be honest, the power of the 81 lightning tribulations was extremely terrifying. If he had not devoured the glorious sun demon's origin energy, it would not have been so easy for him. At the very least, he would be severely injured by the 81 lightning tribulations, and he would not be able to recover in a short period of time. Fortunately, he had these abyssal demons as cannon fodder. They helped him share a portion of the power of the heavenly tribulation, which made it much easier for him to pass the heavenly tribulation. Therefore, coming to the abyss to undergo tribulation had great benefits. This feeling, could it be that I'm about to break through? At this moment, he was enlightened. He sensed that the magical power and mental energy in his body had almost reached their peak. It was like a water tank that was filled with water and was about to overflow. A dark golden door in the depths of his mind seemed to have been blasted open by an invisible force, and a huge bottleneck was also broken by a flood of magic power. His magic power cultivation had stepped into a new realm. Late-stage aspect realm. Xia Ping was invigorated. He immediately knew that he had finally broken through to the late-stage transcendence realm. At this moment, all the injuries on his body were healed immediately because of the breakthrough in his cultivation. His essence, spirit, and spirit were almost at their peak, and a strong aura surged out uncontrollably. The strong aura shook the ground under his feet, creating a huge pit. At the same time, countless cracks appeared on the ground, stretching for thousands of kilometers. In fact, breaking through to the late-stage aspect realm was something that happened naturally. After entering the myriad heavens creation map and devouring some ginseng fruits, the huge medicinal power was enough for Xia Ping to improve by leaps and bounds, condensing his magical power to the peak of the mid-stage aspect realm. Now, he had devoured a large amount of soul energy from the abyssal demons, devoured the huge amount of source energy from the bright sun demon, and even obtained the divine flame. With all these factors added together, even though he had 9 purple mansion spaces and needed a lot of energy, it was enough for him to break through to the late-stage aspect realm. Rumble. After the breakthrough, Xia Ping immediately realized that his sea of consciousness had undergone a huge change. First was the 9 purple mansion spaces. Because of the breakthrough in his cultivation, the 9 purple mansion spaces had expanded at the same time. They kept expanding towards the depths of the void, and their volume had doubled. This meant that the amount of magical power they could contain was even more terrifying. At the same time, his soul energy and the power of his consciousness had expanded further and were much stronger than before. Even his martial path magical powers, magical power talismans, and the 9 heaven and earth dharma forms had transformed. It felt like he had been reborn, and the power of his magical powers had become even stronger. Immediately, he felt that his purple mansion space was empty. Because the area of his purple mansion space had expanded, his magical power hadn't kept up, and there were many barren places. But at this moment, a huge amount of energy immediately surged out from the depths of Xia Ping's body. It was rapidly converted into magical power, and it was frantically injected into the depths of the 9 purple mansion spaces. It was as though magical power was flowing backwards. This was the source energy from the bright sun demon. Although he had refined a lot of it previously, the energy in the bright sun demon's body was too huge, and he couldn't completely digest it in a short period of time. There was still a considerable amount of energy stored in the cells in his body, and he had to constantly refine and absorb it. Whoosh! Xia Ping felt a huge amount of magical power surging into his 9 purple mansions. He immediately felt waves of comfort, like dew after a long drought. The power in his body was immediately replenished. He felt that he was getting closer and closer to the peak of the Dharma form realm. The benefits of obtaining the source energy of the bright sun demon were too great. At least it saved him thousands of years of effort in condensing magical power. It also allowed him to improve at every moment. At this moment, Xiaoping's body immediately felt a bone-chilling coldness. It was as though he had fallen into a world of ice and snow. His body was being stared at by a terrifying malice. Who is it? Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of golden light that swept across the 9 heavens and 10 earths, piercing through the void. He suddenly discovered that a grayish-white shadow had appeared in the void in the distance, and it was flying towards him quickly. He immediately recognized that this grayish-white shadow was the demon overlord that had disappeared from the beginning, the Sky's Heart demon. Kiki, human, I've waited for this moment. Die obediently. Your body belongs to me now. The Sky's Heart demon cackled. It revealed a treacherous smile, and it was extremely proud. Whoosh! Chapter 1954. Ha, stupid human. No matter how cunning you are, you still have to eat my bathwater. The Sky Heart demon was extremely proud. Previously, its ability as a Sky Heart demon was useless during the Heaven's Retribution. If it wasn't careful, it might even be struck to death by the Heaven's Retribution and follow in the footsteps of other abyssal demons. Therefore, it immediately hid and waited for an opportunity. It waited for 3 days and 3 nights. Finally, the Heaven's Retribution ended. Without the threat of the Heaven's Retribution, wouldn't it be easy for the Sky Heart demon to kill a human? Indeed, in terms of actual combat power, it wasn't a match for this human, nor was it a match for the Sun Demon or the 9 Underworlds demon. The problem was that it didn't just rely on fighting head-on. It could also use sneak attacks. Therefore, when it saw that this human had broken through to a new realm, and his magic power and divine sense had yet to stabilize, it knew it was time for it to sneak attack this human. Without hesitation, it turned into a heart demon's thought and entered the human's body. To be honest, the Sky's Heart demon had been drooling over this human's body for a long time. This was a body that even the bright sun demon desired. If it could completely destroy this human's soul, obtain this body, and refine it into a puppet for the Sky's Heart demon, then the Sky's Heart demon would immediately possess powerful combat power. Die, human. Your body belongs to me now. The Sky Heart demon was proud. It entered Xiaoping's body and went deep into his sea of consciousness. It planned to find Xiaoping's soul and eat this human's soul instantly. Fuck, what's going on? However, the Sky Heart demon was shocked when it entered Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. This was because it discovered that this human's sea of consciousness was terrifyingly huge. It was far bigger than any creature it had seen before. Even the sea of consciousness of demon overlords like the 9 Underworlds demon and the Sun demon couldn't compare to this human at all. After all, this sea of consciousness was too vast. It was as vast as a galaxy. At the same time, there were 9 huge worlds in the depths of the sea of consciousness. Every single world seemed to be like a star that lay across this expanse of space. They emanated boundless heat and light, and they emanated an ancient, powerful, noble, eternal, and various other auras. For a moment, Heaven's Heart demon felt helpless because the sea of consciousness was too huge. It was extremely difficult to find the location of the human's soul. No wonder this human's magic power is so shocking and he's so powerful. He actually has such a huge sea of consciousness and 9 violet mansions? Is this really a human? The Sky's Heart devil was shocked. It felt like it had discovered the source of this human strength. It had never seen a life form with 9 violet kingdom spaces. It was no wonder that the heavenly tribulation wanted to kill him. If such a monster became a saint, it was unknown how terrifying he would be. He would probably surpass all the existences that had existed since ancient times. Oh, there seems to be a little bug. Suddenly, a voice rang out in the sea of consciousness. It was like the ringing of a bell, causing Heaven's Heart demon's body to shake and his head to hurt. Heaven's Heart demon suddenly raised its head and saw a giant that looked like a human appearing in front of it. This giant was too huge. Standing in the sea of consciousness, The 9 worlds were as weak as eggs. This giant's entire body shone, and its true appearance could not be clearly seen. It seemed to be condensed from flames, and countless mysterious symbols appeared on its body, emitting an unfathomable aura. At that moment, the giant suddenly moved. A huge hand came from the void and grabbed towards Heaven's Heart Demon. "Oh no, run!" Heaven's Heart Demon's hair stood on end as if it had met its natural enemy. It was just a thought now, a heart demon. In essence, it was a spiritual entity. A battle in the sea of consciousness was basically a battle between souls. Whoever had the stronger soul power would have the upper hand. That was the essence of a soul battle. Without a doubt, this giant had soul power that far surpassed Heaven's Heart Demon. If it was grabbed by this huge hand, it would probably be squashed like a bug. But it wanted to run, but it was too late. When the giant moved, the entire sea of consciousness turned upside down. Countless air currents wrapped around it as if the entire world had become its enemy. It was filled with malice and crushed towards its body, locking down the void. No, no, no! Heaven's Heart Demon couldn't help but scream. It felt like its body couldn't move, as if it was bound by an invisible power. It was trapped in a spatial cage. Boom! In the next second, the giant's hand came and slapped Heaven's Heart Demon's body. Terrifying energy exploded, and the void seemed to crack. Ah! Heaven's Heart Demon immediately let out a shrill cry. Its body exploded into pieces just like that. Its soul was completely shattered. It was killed easily like a mosquito. The famous Heaven's Heart Demon was slapped to death just like that. How stupid! Xia Ping also sensed the situation in his sea of consciousness. He was speechless when he sensed Heaven's Heart Demon's death. This Heaven's Heart Demon was extremely stupid. If Heaven's Heart Demon had escaped, he might not have been able to kill this strange existence. But this fellow actually dared to barge into his sea of consciousness and tried to destroy his soul and take over his body. Wasn't this like a lamb entering a tiger's mouth? Whoosh! As Heaven's Heart Demon died, a terrifying dark vortex appeared in the depths of Xia Ping's mind. It immediately devoured and refined the soul power left behind by Heaven's Heart Demon. Immediately, the soul power condensed into a huge soul crystal. It was the size of a meteorite, and the soul power it contained was 10 times more than the bright sun demon. It was no wonder that Heaven's Heart Demon was so confident and arrogant. It thought that it could destroy its own soul. It was a fiendish demon overlord to begin with, far surpassing ordinary fiendish demons of the abyss. Moreover, its soul power was 10 times stronger than a fiendish demon overlord like the bright sun demon. Therefore, it was practically invincible in a soul battle against fiendish demons of the same rank. How could it have imagined that Xia Ping was such a monster? He was just a human in the late Transcendence realm, but his soul power surpassed all Thunder Tribulation realm cultivators. It was unbelievable. Heaven's Heart Demon didn't understand why this had happened. It died with grievances. What's this? Xia Ping squinted. He sensed that after he refined all of Heaven's Heart Demon's energy, a black talisman was condensed. It was beautiful and mysterious. It contained a dark and strange aura like a demon seed. Chapter 1955. Devour. Xia Ping didn't hesitate and immediately devoured the demonic seed. Instantly, countless dark scriptures flowed out from the depths of his sea of consciousness. These were the cultivation experiences of Sky's Heart Demon. They were the mysteries of the laws granted by the Abyss world. They were also the mysteries of Sky's Heart Demon's divine powers. They were unfathomable. He felt as if he had transformed into Sky's Heart Demon. He had all the experiences of Sky's Heart Demon and was proficient in all kinds of Heart Demon techniques. His use of divine sense had reached the acme of perfection. After a long time, there was finally a huge change in the depths of his sea of consciousness. Countless spiritual energy gathered and the demonic seed turned into a mark. The mark was engraved with countless symbols. It seemed to contain a supreme dark scripture. It emitted a strange, mysterious, and unfathomable aura. It was like a black hole that could devour everything. Demon Heart Mark. Xia Ping immediately knew what the divine power he had obtained after refining Sky's Heart Demon's origin energy was. It was a famous dark divine power from the Abyss world, Demon Heart Mark. After successfully refining the dark mark, he felt as if he could feel the emotions of countless living beings in the world through the mark. He could feel their joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. This was also one of the origin energy of Sky's Heart Demon. It could naturally sense the emotions of all living beings. From this perspective, it was even more mysterious than the Buddhist mind reading. This is amazing. Xia Ping's divine sense seeped into the space of the mountain river Pearl. He sensed that there were countless living beings living in the vast space of the mountain river Pearl. There were primordial descendants, wild animals, weeds, trees, spiritual herbs, spiritual grains, and so on. These living beings might be happy, angry, bored, confused, aggrieved, or dispirited. He could feel all these emotions clearly. It was as if he could feel them. Even his emotions seemed to have colors, colorful and gorgeous. Ordinary people couldn't see them, but he could see them clearly through the demon heart mark. It was as if the entire world had changed. Perhaps this was the world in Sky's Heart Demon's eyes. Rumble. In an instant, he felt that the true understanding of illusions he cultivated seemed to have improved greatly. This demon heart mark was very useful for cultivating illusions. It was like adding wings to a tiger. Perfect realm. Xia Ping immediately knew that his first level of illusion had finally broken through from the advanced realm to the grand completion realm, advancing to an unimaginable realm, becoming a true master of illusion. This is also the peak of illusions that mortals can achieve. This is the realm that illusionists dream of reaching. Upon reaching the great perfection realm, he could immediately set up an illusory world with a single thought. This illusory world was incomparably realistic and had almost no flaws. It had its own ancient history, and every life had its own growth process. There were also complicated interpersonal relationships between them. Every illusory life had its own consciousness, and they could talk to each other. They also had their own emotions, joy, anger, sorrow, and joy. It was just like the real world. Before obtaining the Devil Heart Seal, he was unable to create such a realistic illusory world. However, after obtaining the Devil's Heart Seal and being able to sense the emotions of all living things in the world, he could immediately do this and endow countless illusory lives with complicated situations. It was as if he had transformed into a heaven's heart devil. This was a power that originated from his instincts and was self-taught. One thought, one world. With a move of Xia Ping's thoughts, a silent wave immediately enveloped a radius of 1 billion kilometers. Suddenly, a real world descended on this abyss continent. In this area, it seemed that a huge human world had appeared. There were more than a dozen human countries. They had different histories and races, and there were even wars between them. The humans living in this place even had their own lives. On the streets, in the houses, inside the palaces, everyone was vivid and lifelike, as if they really existed. Everyone had their own personality. One could even hear the noise and laughter on the commercial streets, the crying and quarreling sounds from the residents' houses, and the indescribable strange sounds. Unimaginable. Xia Ping stood on the street. He had a surreal feeling. Stepping on the concrete floor was so solid. The fragrance in the air, the touch of the soles of his feet, the sounds, and the colors were all so vivid. Countless people passed by him. Some people accidentally bumped into him, and they would apologize. Some people felt that he was standing in the middle of the road, and they would curse and swear. Some people even called the police, wanting the police to take him away from this place. If this illusion was not set up by him, he would have thought that he was really in a real world. Although this illusion world was created by him, after the creation was successful, it seemed that the operation of this world could no longer be interfered with, and it had formed its own unique law. If this law and law were destroyed, the whole world would collapse. It's too mysterious. Xia Ping increasingly felt that the true explanation of illusion was really broad, profound, and unfathomable. It contained infinite mysteries and seemed to point directly to the great Tao. He didn't know which demon in the depths of hell created it. Moreover, this was only the first realm of illusion. If it reached the second realm or even the third realm, such an illusion would probably no longer be an illusion, but a divine art. Beep, beep. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host, you have attracted the hatred of a large number of abyss demons. This time, you have received a total of 100 hatred crystals. I hope you will continue to work hard. Xia Ping finally came back to his senses at this moment and broke away from the illusion. He didn't expect that after killing a large group of abyss demons, he could still gain so much hatred. In addition to the previous hatred, he now had a total of 560 hatred crystals, and it was not too far away from getting 1,000 hatred crystals. Well, it's time to go back. Xia Ping sorted out the harvest and felt that he had successfully passed the tribulation this time. Not only did he successfully pass the tribulation, but he could also harvest a large number of soul crystals, which was a big harvest. In this case, there was no point in staying in this place. It was better to go back and continue to be an observer, lest the elders think that he had not appeared for a long time and thought that he had died in the demon continent. He looked at the illusion world in front of him, which seemed to have solidified. If there was no external force to destroy it, it was estimated that this illusion world would not dissipate for thousands of years. Xia Ping's figure flashed, and without destroying the illusion world, he immediately flew back to the original place. But after flying for a while, his heart palpitated and he suddenly stopped. Isn't this Jiang Yaru and the others? Chapter 1956. Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he immediately landed in front of Yu Qiqi, Jiang Yaru, Su Ji, and Chu Rong. Boom! Just as he landed, the thousands of abyssal demons in the valley were immediately ignited by flames. From inside to outside, their entire bodies turned into huge torches that shot into the sky. The abyssal demons were terrified to the extreme and let out shrill screams. But after a breath's time, the screams stopped. They were also burned to ashes, leaving nothing behind. What's going on? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows. He had not expected such a thing to happen. He had not done anything just now. All he had done was descend into the valley, and the group of abyssal demons had burned themselves to death. However, he could also sense that the flames had indeed come from his body and had been ignited by his own power. It was not someone else who had killed the abyssal demons. So that's how it is. Xia Ping thought about it carefully and quickly understood what had happened. This was because the golden crow of hell bloodline in his body had evolved too quickly, especially after he had devoured the bright sun demon's origin energy and obtained a wisp of its divine flames. This had allowed him to advance by leaps and bounds, awakening 300 million golden crow of hell cells. This way, the flame aura and pure yang aura on his body were frighteningly strong. Although he didn't feel anything, this terrifying flame aura couldn't be restrained at all. In the eyes of others, Xia Ping was like a sun walking on land, constantly emitting terrifying heat. Of course, under Xia Ping's control, this heat would not casually explode. But if an enemy was hostile towards Xia Ping, this terrifying flame energy would automatically counterattack, instantly killing the enemy. This was an instinctive counterattack, so fast that Xia Ping did not even realize it. The group of abyssal demons in the valley did not know about this. When they saw another human coming, they naturally treated Xia Ping as their greatest enemy. The result was obvious. Their evil and killing intent had just exploded, and it immediately triggered Xia Ping's defensive instincts. Terrifying flame energy blasted out. Even if it was just a trace, it was not something these weak demons could defend against. In an instant, the group of abyssal demons were burned to death. Their bodies were ignited by the flames and turned to ashes. Looks like I'll need to cultivate in seclusion for a period of time before I can completely master the golden crow of hell's bloodline. Xia Ping rubbed his chin. He felt that he had indeed improved a little too quickly over the past few days. This had also caused a slight flaw in his control over his power. He would need some time to completely master it. Xia Ping, why are you here? Jiang Yaru asked curiously. Yu Qiqi, Su Ji, and Chu Rong also felt that it was very strange. After all, Xia Ping was an observer, so he shouldn't be interfering with the training of new disciples like them. If they were found out, they would probably be disqualified from the trial and would be thought to have relied on others to cheat. I just happened to pass by. Xia Ping expressed that it was just a coincidence and that he did not deliberately arrive at this place. As for that group of abyssal demons, it wasn't because he wanted to help. It was purely because that group of abyssal demons were courting death. They actually dared to have the intention to kill him. In the end, they were automatically burned to death by the flames on his body. Could it be that you were the one who created that blood-colored tribulation cloud? Did you just come back from the depths of the demon continent? Yu Qiqi immediately recalled her previous conjecture. She felt that such a huge commotion definitely had a lot to do with Xia Ping, that shit-stirrer. This is a secret. If you want to know, tonight when we're alone in a room, I can slowly tell you. I can tell you everything in detail, and we can talk through the night. Xia Ping said with a smile. Hey, who cares about your secret? Shameless, stinky human. Yu Qiqi's face turned red. She naturally knew what Xia Ping was trying to say. He was obviously trying to do something to her. Now that they were alone in a room, how could she escape? Su Ji, why is your face so red? Are you having a fever or are you sick? Chu Rong immediately noticed that Su Ji was acting strangely. Her fair and tender face had turned red. Her pair of beautiful eyes were watery, and there was a hint of lust in them. No matter how she looked at Su Ji, she felt that there was something wrong with her, as if she had taken drugs. I don't know what's going on either. I just suddenly feel that Xia Ping has become very handsome, invincibly handsome. Su Ji's face turned red as she blurted out. However, after saying these words, she was so ashamed that she wanted to die. She wished that she could bury her head in the ground. How could she say such shameless words? Very handsome? This is just a trivial advantage of mine. I also have the advantages of being tall and mighty, gentle and kind, brave and tenacious, long-lasting, and so on. Damn, female rogue, what are you doing? Xia Ping was planning to continue bragging about himself, but suddenly, Su Ji seemed to be unable to bear it. She pounced on him like a female Selin and hugged him like an octopus, extremely shameless. Rogue, I want to test your advantage of being able to last for a long time. Su Ji gently raised her head and exhaled. Her beautiful eyes were like a pool of spring water, beautiful beyond compare. This, although this is one of my more prominent advantages, and has long been famous in the world, but now is obviously not the time. In broad daylight, and there are people watching, you better respect me. I am a man with principles. Xia Ping swallowed his saliva. He felt that he was a little unable to control himself. His willpower was quite weak. Is that so? But don't you think it's more exciting to have people watching? Or do you hate me? Su Ji giggled. Her white and tender little hand gently drew a circle on his chest. How could I hate you? Even if I hate the whole universe, it's impossible for me to hate you. Xia Ping said with a guilty conscience. He felt that he could no longer control himself. This kind of action, this kind of tone, this kind of demeanor could absolutely capture any man. This was a woman's godly skill. But before he could finish speaking, a small hand forcefully grabbed him from the side. The person who grabbed him was Jiang Yar. She also seemed to be very strange. Her pretty face was flushed, and her beautiful eyes were blurred. She grabbed Xia Ping's collar and directly pulled him in front of her chest. Her manner was incomparably domineering. Smelly rogue, you like that kind of shameless hooves. Everywhere you go, you flirt with other women. Don't tell me as your childhood sweetheart, I can't do it. If you want it, don't tell me I can't give it to you. My chest, isn't it big enough? You absolutely can. Your growth, I can see it with my own eyes. Xia Ping felt a little breathless. Chapter 1957. Stinky Human. Yu Qiqi's beautiful eyes blurred. She grabbed Xia Ping's collar and pressed one hand against the mountain wall. She pressed her body close to Xia Ping and revealed the demeanor of a queen. You actually dare to flirt with another woman in front of this queen. You have quite the guts, but you are indeed not bad. Man, you have successfully attracted my attention. However, do you know how big of a crime it is to make this queen jealous? This is a heavy crime. This queen punishes you to stay by my side for the rest of your life. You are not allowed to leave. This is a life sentence. Her tone was very tyrannical, as if she was declaring her sovereignty. Xia Ping was dumbfounded. He was actually being pressed against the wall by a woman? What the hell was this? He suddenly felt that this woman had become intrepid, as if he had become the one on the receiving end. My God, what's wrong with these women? Are they on drugs? Just as Yu Qiqi finished her sentence, another hand dragged Xia Ping over and pressed him down onto the ground. A graceful figure was riding on top of him. It was Chu Rong. Pervert. Chu Rong placed her hands on Xia Ping's chest. Her beautiful eyes were like water as she bit her lips. I am not a princess, nor am I your childhood sweetheart. I don't know how to seduce a man, but I have fair skin, big breasts, long legs, and this is my first time. I don't need to be responsible for anyone's life. I wonder if you are willing to accept me like this? No problem. This is not a big problem. Xia Ping felt as if he had been conquered. This girl said that she didn't know how to seduce a man, but to say such words and do such actions, she was clearly a grandmaster. Which man could stand it? She even asked if he was willing to accept me like this. Could it be that a man would say he was not willing? If not for the fact that there was no one around, he would have thought that he was being jumped by an immortal. System, why did they become like this? Xia Ping immediately asked the system. He felt that the system should know something. Host, it is purely because of you. Because the Golden Crow Hell bloodline in your body has greatly increased in a short period of time, your body has an excess of yang energy, which is extremely attractive to women. It is like a walking aphrodisiac. That's why you became like this. The system replied, indicating that it was Xia Ping's fault. So that's how it is. Xia Ping finally understood why Su Ji, Yu Qiqi, Chu Rong, and Jiang Yaru would become like this. It was because the pure yang qi on his body was too dense and was corroding the surroundings. Right now, he was simply like a furnace, emitting a strong male hormone. Su Ji, Yu Qiqi, Chu Rong, and Jiang Yaru were unable to resist at all, and were immediately affected. Especially Su Ji, her body has the fox demon blood, which contains a strong yin attribute. Thus, it is impossible for her to resist such a strong pure yang qi. Therefore, she was the first to change. System, is there any way to solve this problem? Xia Ping asked. There's no other way. Unless you can control the power in your body freely and stop releasing any pure yang qi, you won't be able to solve it. The system said. Before Xia Ping could think of a solution, Yu Qiqi, Jiang Yaru, and Su Ji surrounded him, their faces as red as peach blossoms. Stinky human, you're such a fickle man. It's fine as long as she's a woman, right? Xia Ping, I want to prove to you that I am the most suitable woman for you. Idiot, what are you waiting here for? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Don't tell me you're still foolishly waiting here. Man, has anyone ever told you that you look cute like this? Give up struggling. Tonight you're ours. Chu Rong and the others were like wolves and tigers. Their hands and feet moved nimbly, and in an instant, they grabbed Xia Ping's hands and feet. Stop, you bunch of female hooligans, stop your rude actions immediately. Wait, my clothes, your clothes? I'm a man with principles, and my will is very firm. Don't think that you can touch me. If this goes on, I'm going to resist. I'm really going to resist. Oh my God. Very soon, a very rhythmic sound came from a nearby cave. It sounded like waves crashing against the reef, and from time to time, thousands of waves would rise. It also seemed like a violent storm had appeared, and it didn't stop for a long time. In the distance, in the deepest part of the demonic continent, where Xia Ping was originally undergoing his tribulation. At this moment, more than a dozen demons appeared in the surroundings, and each of them emitted a tyrannical abyssal aura. Impressively, their cultivation had reached the peak of the Thunder Tribulation realm. Even their auras were not inferior to the glorious Sun Demon, 9 Underworlds Demon, and other demon overlords. Damn it, what happened? Why are all the top demons on this continent dead? Even the glorious Sun Demon, 9 underworlds demon, and even the sky heart demon are dead. Who did it? An abyssal demon's expression was very ugly. This place is filled with the dense aura of the thunder tribulation. Most of the abyssal demons were killed by the thunder tribulation. An abyssal demon carefully looked around and observed some clues. Thunder tribulation? This is the abyss continent. Why would there be a thunder tribulation? It's humans. A human once appeared in this place, and it was that human who triggered the heaven tribulation, causing so many abyssal demons to die. There were countless casualties, and almost all the abyssal demons on this continent were annihilated. Damned humans, they're ruining our plans again. If the Lord finds out about this, he'll definitely be furious. What should we do now? These abyssal demons clenched their fists. When they thought about how they ruined the Lord's plan, they shuddered. They simply hated the person who ruined their plan to the bone. Originally, the Lord ordered us to unite the abyssal demons on every demon continent and combine the power of all demons. I didn't expect this continent to encounter a major setback. Don't tell me the humans know about our plan? So what if they know? This is an open plot. Do those humans dare to kill their way into the abyss world? That's right. Even if those humans know about our plan, it doesn't matter. Now that we, the abyssal demons, have established our power, we can't be stopped by a little bit of cleverness and tricks. The Skyheart demon is really useless. It can't do anything at all, and it was actually killed by the humans. Forget it, the Skyheart demon is already dead. It's useless to scold it. Let's go back immediately. The abyssal demons on this continent are all dead. There's not a single high-level demon. They're all low-level cannon fodder. It's useless to stay. Just you wait, damn humans. When my abyssal army gathers, it will soon be the end of the human race. We must take revenge this time and completely eradicate the human race. Let's leave quickly. Maybe that human will come back. We can't continue to lose before the war starts. A group of abyssal demons gritted their teeth and hated the human who ruined their plan. If that human dared to appear in front of them, they would definitely teach him a lesson. But now they had more important things to do. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Chapter 1958. Several days later, the trial of the new disciples of the 5 major sects finally ended. Once the time was up, the surviving new disciples were quickly teleported back by the Tianji board and left the abyss world. We can finally come out alive. As expected of the abyss world. It's not a place for humans. I don't even know how I survived for a month. It's too terrifying. Isn't that so? There are demons from the abyss everywhere, and every demon is extremely terrifying. They kill without batting an eyelid, and their combat strength far surpasses cultivators of the same level. They are indeed the great enemies of the various races in the ancient era. Fortunately, we still came back alive. It's much better than those unlucky seniors and juniors who died in the abyss world. The new disciples of the 5 major sects rejoiced. They felt like they had survived a disaster. To be honest, time in the abyss world was like a year for them. Many new disciples could not bear the pressure and ended the trial early, allowing the Tianji board to teleport them back. This way, they would naturally not be valued and their evaluation would be lowered. The resources they could obtain from the sect in the future would be reduced. At this moment, among the many new disciples of the Qiankuan sect, Yu Qiqi, Jiang Yar, Su Ji, and Chu Rong were also teleported back to the side of the disciples. However, the aura they emitted was clearly different from the other disciples. Previously, they were only treasure refinement realm cultivators. But now, they were true fire realm cultivators. After breaking through a major realm, their cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. If it was just the improvement in their cultivation, it would be fine. The many Qiankuan sect disciples could clearly sense the indistinct aura of divinity from the 4 of them. It was as though they were high and mighty saintesses. Such an aura far surpassed that of all the Qiankuan sect disciples. Oh my God, Su Ji, what exactly did you do in the abyss world? It's fine if you're not injured, but your cultivation base actually advanced by leaps and bounds. You even have a greasy appearance. What kind of fortuitous encounter did you encounter? That's right. You guys seem to have matured quite a bit. From a fairy to a goddess. Some Chenkuan sect disciples who were familiar with Su Ji and the others could not help but ask. They had spent a lot of effort just to survive in the abyss world. But Su Ji and the others, not only were they not injured, they even obtained a fortuitous encounter. Their cultivation had improved tremendously. Obviously, they had obtained some benefits, which made them very envious and jealous. Some of the female disciples were even more sensitive. They could perceive the change in Su Ji and the others from inside to outside. It was as if they had grown from a young girl to a woman and had been reborn. I didn't have any fortuitous encounters. Hearing those words, Yuchichi, Jiangyaru, Su Ji, and Chu Rong's faces turned red as they replied insincerely. What fortuitous encounter? It was just a relationship that surpassed friendship with some shameless scoundrel, and they even had a couple of days of dual cultivation. However, before they could question Xia Ping, the trial suddenly ended, and they were hurriedly teleported out of the abyss world. Although they were unwilling to admit it, after dual cultivation with Xia Ping, they had obtained great benefits. First of all, they cultivated the telepathic heart art. Through spiritual cultivation with Xia Ping, they obtained a lot of cultivation experience from Xia Ping and also gained a lot of enlightenment. Secondly, their bodies had been nourished by Xia Ping's dense magic power and the corrosion of the golden crow of hell's bloodline. In an instant, their physiques had been raised to an unimaginable level. Even their bodies and bloodlines had a trace of the essence of a mythical creature. Therefore, they naturally broke through to the true fire realm without any difficulty. They condensed their spiritual fire, and their martial Tao cultivation also surpassed all the new disciples. However, they could not say these words because it was a private matter. The other Chenkuan sect disciples saw that Su Ji and the others were unwilling to say more, so they did not continue asking. After all, fortuitous encounters were one of everyone's biggest secrets, and no one was willing to expose it. If it were them, they probably would not say it either. However, these Chenkuan sect disciples were all envious and jealous of Su Ji and the others. Why didn't it be them who had fortuitous encounters? Could it be that the gap between people was really that big? On the other hand, Xia Ping had also left the abyss world, and was teleported to where the elders of the 5 major sects were. Oh, Daoxia is back too. His cultivation actually broke through again. Could it be that he had some fortuitous encounter and advanced to the late stage of Law Phase realm? Some elders immediately noticed Xia Ping's situation. They couldn't help but be shocked. It had only been a month, and this kid actually broke through again. He directly advanced to the late stage of Law Phase realm, and his magic power was unbelievably dense. Even though they had heard of Xia Ping's reputation for rapid cultivation, they were not as shocked as when they saw it with their own eyes. Such a monster actually appeared in front of them. It was simply unbelievable. Junior brother Xia broke through again? That's normal, I'm used to it. It's a small matter, just a small matter. Don't make a fuss, it's normal. Some of the Chenkuan sect elders' mouths twitched. To be honest, they were already numb to Xia Ping's cultivation speed. Seeing Xia Ping break through again, they no longer had any thoughts. After all, this guy was not human, but a monster, a peerless monster. They couldn't be compared with him. I was just lucky, Xia Ping said humbly. Xia Ping said modestly. Right now, his aura had been perfectly concealed. The massive golden crow of hell's bloodline in the depths of his body wasn't discovered by any of the elders. It had reached the level of being one with him. If he suddenly teleported out when he was going through the tribulation, he would probably scare this group of elders to death. Just by standing in midair, that terrifying pure yang energy was enough to burn some of the weaker elders to death. It would directly ignite their blood and turn them into a flaming man. However, after dual cultivating with Su Ji, Jiangyaru, Yuchichi, and Chu Rong, he obtained a massive amount of pure yin energy from their bodies, reaching the level of yin and yang fusion. This also allowed him to perfectly control the golden crow of hell's bloodline in his body. At the same time, under this stimulation, he awakened another 50 million golden crow of hell cells. Right now, He had awakened a total of 350 million golden crow of hell's cells. The energy in his body was extremely terrifying. Other than the awakening of the golden crow of hell's bloodline, his magic power cultivation had also greatly increased. After dual cultivating, his magic power cultivation had increased by at least a few thousand years. This also allowed his cultivation to get closer and closer to the peak of the law phase realm. At this rate of progress, it wouldn't be too far for him to reach the peak of the law phase realm. Very soon, he would be able to advance to the lightning tribulation realm and truly step into the realm of peak experts. At that time, he would also have the qualifications to touch the sage realm. Before the arrival of the Cosmos level war, he had to quickly step into the sage realm. Otherwise, when the war started, he would only be slightly stronger cannon fodder. Chapter 1959. Soon, the 5 major sects activated the teleportation array and sent all the disciples and elders back to their respective sections. Xia Ping also returned to the Qingkuan sect. After returning to the sect, he did not return to Yanhuang Peak. Instead, he first went to the Dark North Peak, where his master was. This was because he had to report information about the Abyss demons. After all, the Abyss demons intended to gather and invade the human world again. This concerned the safety of the entire universe, so he could not hide this information. If the human race was finished, then he would be finished too. No matter how big the universe was, there was no place for the human race. They would be like stray dogs. Of course, a small fry like him would definitely not be able to resist the invasion of the Abyss demons. It would definitely require the sage to personally come forward. Moreover, even if the sky collapsed, the tall ones would die first. This matter did not require a small fry like him to worry about for the time being. At this moment, the Dark North sage was not in seclusion, so he entered the Dark North Peak smoothly. "Master, I have something important to report." Xia Ping said solemnly. "Oh, what is it? Just say it." The Dark North sage raised his eyebrows. He knew that his disciple would not come to the Dark North Peak if there was nothing important. "Master, it's like this." Therefore, Xia Ping told him about his encounter in the Abyss world. Of course, he hid the fact that he had transcended the tribulation. He said that when he was exploring the Abyss world, he accidentally bumped into the meeting of the Abyss demons. He sneaked in secretly, but did not expect to discover the other party's earth-shattering conspiracy. Many Abyss demons had already gathered and might soon invade the human world. "So that's how it is. I understand. I didn't expect you to know about this." After listening to Xia Ping, the Dark North sage nodded with a calm expression. Seeing this, Xia Ping's heart stirred. He asked, "Master, could it be that the upper echelons of the human race already knew about the movements of the Abyss demons?" "That's only natural." The Dark North sage smiled. The Abyss demons have always been the common enemy of all races in the universe. The pain they brought to all living beings in the universe in ancient times has never been healed. Therefore, the human race will naturally monitor these abyssal demons at all times and know their every move. This is to prevent these abyssal demons from stirring up havoc again. "Since you knew, why didn't you stop it?" Xia Ping did not understand. If they had known about the evil actions of the Abyss demons long ago, then with the power of the human race, they would naturally be able to take precautions and completely suppress the Abyss demons' plot in the bud. "I can't stop it." Dark North Saint shook his head. "The Abyss world is too powerful for those demon saints. As long as they hide in the deepest part of the Abyss world, we can't do anything to them. Those demon saints can be said to be immortal. Moreover, if we stay in the Abyss world for too long, we will also be corroded by the laws of the Abyss. We cannot stay for too long, so we cannot completely exterminate this group of Abyss demons. Of course, we've long known that this group of abyssal demons hasn't given up. They've been recuperating and waiting for an opportunity to make a comeback. The myriad races are also preparing at all times." He said that the human race had always wanted to exterminate the demons in the Abyss. In fact, even if they united the power of countless races in the universe, it would be impossible to exterminate the demon race in the Abyss. In that case, Both sides have long since prepared for a big battle? Xia Ping looked at Dark North Saint. He smelled a hint of a tragic war that was about to happen. That's right, we have to fight. Moreover, we have to thoroughly beat up this group of abyss demons. We have to kill the majority of their elites and carve out a path of peace. Dark North Saint's body was filled with a terrifying killing intent, tearing through the void. Only by completely injuring these abyss demons will they extinguish the idea of invading the human world again and win billions of years of peace for the human race. He said that the human race had already made various preparations for this war. What happens after we win? Billions of years later, won't those abyss demons make a comeback? Xia Ping still felt that this was not a permanent solution. There's no other way. This is actually the crux of the problem. Dark North Saint spread his hands. We don't have any power to completely exterminate the abyss demons now, so we can only use this method to minimize the threat of the abyss demons. Maybe in the future, someone will find a way to exterminate the abyss demons, but for now, this is the best way to deal with it. Xia Ping nodded. He also understood the helplessness of the human race. The abyss demons were like cockroaches, extremely tenacious and unkillable. They could only maintain a certain number of the abyss demons and not threaten the survival of the human race. You don't need to think about this for the future of the human race for now. What you need to think about now is how to increase your strength and how to have the power to protect yourself. Dark North Saint looked at Xia Ping and reminded him sincerely. Right now, you are still too weak. Only by ascending to the Saint realm can you gain a little bit of authority in this war. Because once the war starts, even saints will fall, not to mention the rest of the mortals. He remembered the war with the abyss demons in the immemorial era. At that time, the human race suffered heavy casualties, at least 70% of the human race. Almost the entire universe 9 rooms were wiped out. It wasn't until a long time later that the human race's strength slowly recovered. Master, I understand. Xia Ping nodded. He also knew that once such a universal war broke out, the degree of tragedy would be beyond the imagination of the people of the current era. Dark North Saint said, "This time, going to the Holy Land of Taichu is a very good opportunity. Many resources can only be found in the Central Universe, and staying in the Central Universe, the chances of becoming a saint are much higher than in other places. If you have nothing else to do, go to the Holy Land of Taichu in the Central Universe as soon as possible. There should be a great opportunity for you to become a saint there." Understood, Master. Xia Ping's heart moved. Even Dark North Saint said so, hoping that he would go to the Holy Land of Taichu. It seemed that the Central Universe really did contain a great secret. In fact, if there was no great secret, it would not attract the beings of the various races to live in that place. This was also why the Central Universe had become a place where thousands of races fought for hegemony. After saying this, he discussed with Dark North Sage some of the problems he encountered in cultivation before leaving the Dark North Peak. From the conversation with his master, he knew that this war was inevitable. The only thing he could do now was to quickly become stronger in order to survive in this war that would sweep across the entire universe. He could even obtain countless opportunities from the war. In fact, many existences at the level of overlord in the universe had risen through the war. The so-called crisis meant that there was danger, but there were also opportunities. Chapter 1960. Qingquan Star, a spaceship port. Xia Ping ended his cultivation and arrived at this place because the people from the Holy Land of Taichu would soon arrive at this port to welcome him into the Central Universe. These days, he had been in seclusion to consolidate his skyrocketing cultivation. He had refined and absorbed most of the energy obtained from the abyss world and completely familiarized himself with the skyrocketing magical power in his body. Of course, this also made his cultivation advance by leaps and bounds. His magical power was much stronger than before, and he was not far from the peak of the Transcendence realm. If someone could sense the situation inside Xia Ping's body, they would definitely be stunned. His entire body was filled with explosive magical power, burning like the sun, as if it contained eternal power. Of course, This power was completely restrained by Xia Ping and concentrated in the depths of his body, not leaking a single bit. Otherwise, if such a huge amount of pure yang qi was released everywhere, it would lead to unpredictable consequences. At this moment, a huge spaceship immediately appeared in the sky. It looked like a black whale, engraved with dense mysterious runes. It was so huge that it even exceeded the average space fortress. The huge size was not the reason why Xia Ping was shocked. It was because he felt that this black spaceship seemed to be a living thing. Its tail trembled slightly as if it had its own life and consciousness. He would not be surprised if this black spaceship immediately turned into a terrifying monster. Is this a saint-level spaceship? Corinne, do you know what's going on with this spaceship? Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He sensed that this black spaceship was comparable to his stars, and even more magical to a certain extent. It was not something that ordinary spaceships could compare to. Was this the spaceship from the Holy Land of Taichu? If I'm not wrong, this should also be a mid-grade saint-level spaceship. In terms of level alone, it is probably more powerful than our stars. Hearing Xia Ping's voice, Corinne replied, "The reason why you feel that this spaceship seems to have life consciousness is also very normal, because this spaceship has fused with a kind of special life form of the universe, which is at least sage level." What? Integrated with life, saint level? What does this mean? Xia Ping's eyes widened, feeling a little strange that a life could be integrated with a spaceship. Of course. Corinne said as if it was a matter of course. For example, some special metal life forms or plant life forms can be thoroughly integrated into the spaceship. Just like the slightly famous Saint-grade spaceship Meteor, it was a rock giant that had fused with a universe-level life form. Its entire body could transform into an indestructible rock, and it could charge around. Even space storms couldn't destroy it. The Elven clan's famous Saint-class spaceship, the Elven, was formed from the fusion of the Elven clan's sacred tree, the Katari tree. The entire spaceship looks like a big tree, and its roots stretch across the void, allowing it to easily traverse the universe. It explains some of the mysteries of a Saint-class ship to Xia Ping. In that case, could the stars have fused with some kind of life form? Xia Ping's heart thumped. Well, no. Corinne looked very embarrassed. Back then, Old Master only piled up a lot of rare ores on the myriad stars and barely managed to upgrade the grade of the spaceship to a low-grade holy-grade spaceship. It's not that Old Master doesn't want to find these strange life forms, but the problem is that there are too few suitable strange life forms, not to mention sage-level ones. There's no way we can defeat them. Then why does the Holy Land of Taichu have such a spaceship? Xia Ping asked curiously. Of course they can. In any case, the Holy Land of Taichu is one of the holy lands of the human race. There are a lot of sage-level existences in it. It's too easy to find some metal life forms and plant life forms. Corinne sighed. Old Master advocated freedom at that time and was unwilling to join these big organizations to be restricted. He was just an individual cultivator, so of course he didn't enjoy the same treatment as the Holy Land of Taichu. If the Old Master had joined the Holy Land of Taichu, he probably wouldn't have been killed so easily. It was precisely because he was just a rogue cultivator with no family or friends, and no one to protect him that no one would avenge him. Even if he died, no one would avenge him. Those who wanted to kill you wouldn't have any scruples. Xia Ping also knew that although the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness were two of the holy lands of the human race, not all the human sages were included in these two organizations. In fact, there were many sages who didn't want to join these organizations and preferred to live a free and unrestrained life. These people were also called individual cultivators. There were also benefits to being an individual cultivator. They didn't need to be bound by all kinds of rules and could be free to do whatever they wanted. However, they also didn't have a backer, and if something really happened, no one would come to save them. Corinne sighed. If Old Master had a few relatives and friends, or the Holy Land of Taichu as a backer, then the enemy wouldn't have dared to kill him. In other words, if we want to continue to upgrade the stars, we need to find some sage-level metal life forms or plant life forms to fuse with. Xia Ping asked. That's right. Corinne nodded. If you become a sage, Xia Ping, It should be very easy to ask the Holy Land of Taichu for help. Moreover, a sage-level spaceship is an extremely important means of transportation in the central universe. Without a sage-level spaceship, it's basically impossible to travel in the central universe. It meant that a sage-level spaceship was very important in the central universe. In fact, if it wasn't so important, the Saints of the Stars wouldn't have spent all their wealth to build a spaceship. Xia Ping wanted to ask more about the central universe, but the black spaceship had already landed and arrived at the port, temporarily parked in the air. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this time, the cabin door of the spaceship opened, and then 3 disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu came out. The leading disciple was also someone Xia Ping had seen before. He was Su Chang, a mighty figure at the peak of the Thunder Retribution state. He held a mid-grade holy artifact and once fought with Xia Ping in the Heavenly Creation map. In the end, Xia Ping beat him to a pulp. However, Su Chang didn't feel like he was running away. He was in high spirits and showed the demeanor of the eldest senior brother of the Holy Land of Taichu. You're Xia Ping from the Chengkuan sect, right? I'm a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. This time, I'm here to take you to the central universe. Now, get on the spaceship. Su Chang went straight to the point. Xia Ping nodded and immediately followed Su Chang and the others into the spaceship without hesitation. Chapter 1961. One day later, the whale ship from the Holy Land of Taichu traveled across the Eastern Universe, picking up all the geniuses who joined the Holy Land of Taichu and heading to the Central Universe. Many geniuses of the Eastern Universe gathered in the hull of the ship. A middle-aged man in a blue battle robe stood in front of the hull. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu stood respectfully in front of this middle-aged man, without the arrogance they had before. Because this middle-aged man was a sage. Everyone present felt a strong sense of pressure when facing this middle-aged man, as if a tyrannical power was everywhere, crushing down from the depths of the void, as if the entire universe was their enemy. Of course, the middle-aged man did not purposely release this pressure. It was purely a powerful aura that was naturally released as a saint. Just a wisp of this aura made everyone almost breathless. This was the difference in the nature of life, as if they had encountered a powerful creature at the top of the food chain. You have the opportunity to join the Holy Land of Taichu, which proves that you are all geniuses of the human race. The blue-robed middle-aged man said, however, all of you are from the Eastern Universe and have never been to the Central Universe. I must remind you that the Central Universe is completely different from the other regions of the universe. It is the core of the universe, and it is also the place where all the races fight for supremacy. It is where the elites of countless races gather. Entering the Central Universe is not a simple matter. The geniuses of the Eastern Universe nodded. They could take spaceships in and out of other regions of the universe at will, and it could also be regarded as a tourist destination. But the Central Universe was different. There was no means of transportation at all. It seemed that only spaceships from the Holy Land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness could enter. I believe you are also curious why so many spaceships can't enter the Central Universe. In fact, this is not a rule of the human race, and there is no law prohibiting other humans from entering the Central Universe. That is because ordinary people can't enter even if they want to, the middle-aged man in the blue battle robe said. Why can't they enter? Because the entire Central Universe is surrounded by space storms. Such storms are hundreds of millions of light-years long, and ordinary spaceships can't pass through them to reach the Central Universe. Only saint-level spaceships can resist the erosion of space storms and enter the Central Universe smoothly. He gently pointed with his finger, and immediately a virtual projection appeared. The Central Universe seemed to have turned into a huge sphere. This area was full of space storms, as if the surrounding void had been cut off, separating the Central Universe from other regions of the universe. It was like a huge island isolated in the universe. I see. Xia Ping came to a sudden realization. He finally understood why humans from the Central Universe were rarely seen. If they stayed in a place like this, then it would be very difficult for them to travel to other regions of the universe. After all, one needed a Saint-grade spaceship to travel freely in and out of the central universe. The problem was, how could an ordinary person afford a Saint-grade spaceship? Even the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu did not have such financial resources. They could only take advantage of the Holy Land of Taichu's missions to have the opportunity to take the Saint-level spacecraft to other places. As for the humans in the other regions of the universe, as well as the creatures of the various major races, they had no chance of boarding a Saint-class spaceship, so they had no way of reaching the central region. They only knew that such a place existed. Don't think that the central universe looks small on the screen. In terms of area and volume, it's countless times larger than the other 4 universes combined. The blue-robed middle-aged man looked at everyone and said, "Because the central universe is very special. There are spatial folds everywhere, and there are no such things as planets inside. Instead, there are unique minor worlds with complete laws of heaven and earth. There are as many minor worlds as there are hairs on an ox in the central universe. A new world may be born at any moment, and the central universe is constantly expanding." Hearing this, someone immediately asked, "Sir, you mentioned before that the central universe is the myriad races strife zone. Is our human race fighting for worlds in this region?" "That's right. You're very smart to see the key point." The blue-robed middle-aged man nodded. These minor worlds born in the central universe contain a huge amount of resources that other regions of the universe can't compare to. It's very difficult to find 10,000-year spirit herbs in the eastern universe, but they're very common in the central universe. Although they're not everywhere, they're not hard to find. If you can occupy a minor world, it's equivalent to obtaining the resources of a minor world. The wealth you can provide to your race is indescribable. Fighting for the worlds in the central universe is a daily occurrence in the central universe. Countless races will fight for a resource-rich world, waging war against each other, resulting in countless deaths and injuries. There was a hint of cruelty and ruthlessness in his tone. It could be said that the central universe was the place where countless races fought the most in the universe. Annihilation of races happened at every moment. "Sir, do you know how many worlds our human race has seized from the central region?" someone asked curiously. "There are countless small worlds, but the larger worlds with slightly more resources now occupy about 900 million of them," the blue-robed man said calmly. 900 million minor worlds. The prodigies all gasped, then couldn't help but show a proud expression. The human race was indeed one of the top races in the universe. Even in the myriad races strife zone, they could occupy 900 million minor worlds. Don't be so surprised. The blue-robed man waved his hand. We humans only occupy the 900 million minor worlds in the common zone. As for the mystic zone and the dark forbidden zone, the human race can't easily enter them. Everyone asked. They wanted to know what the so-called normal area meant. Before the blue-robed man could answer, a disciple from the Holy Land of Taichu answered. Although the entire central universe gave birth to countless worlds, it was also divided into 3 major regions: the common zone, the mystic zone, and the dark forbidden zone. The worlds in the common zone were worlds where ordinary people could live. But the worlds in the mystic zone were completely uninhabitable for ordinary people. Only sages could enter. However, there were countless treasures in the mystic zone. Even one world in the mystic zone could rival the wealth of 1,000,000 worlds in the common zone. Chapter 1962. Interesting. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He had some understanding of the central universe. It was divided into 3 regions: the ordinary region, the mystic region, and the forbidden darkness region. "Sir, is the mystic region really that powerful? What secrets do they hold?" someone asked. "Of course they are," the middle-aged man in blue said, "just like the famous dragon race. They live in a world called the Dragon Realm, which is located in the mystic region. There are also the demon race, formed by countless races. Many of their sages also occupy a world in the mystic region. They call it the Demon Realm, and they also have a place in the mystic region. In addition, there is the Qilin realm of the Qilin race, the Phoenix realm of the Phoenix race, the Elemental realm of the Elemental race, the Tree realm of the Tree race, and so on. They are all powerful races born in the mystic region. He said that many of the top races of the universe were born in the mystic region and occupied a place there. The human race naturally had a powerful world in the mystic region, but ordinary people could not enter such a world. Only sages had the right to enter. The demon realm. Could the place I entered last time be the demon realm of the central universe's mystic region? Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. But after careful thought, he realized that the place he entered last time was not the demon realm of the mystic region, but a dimensional world created by the sages of the demon race. There seemed to be many similar demon realms among the demon race, but they were bases created to nurture prodigies. They could not compare to the demon realms of the mystic region. Boom! At that moment, the black spaceship shook slightly, as if it had hit something. It stopped for a moment. Oh, we've reached the periphery of the central universe. The middle-aged man in blue waved his hand, and the top of the spaceship split open, revealing a glass-like outer layer. The entire top of the spaceship became transparent. Everyone could see the situation outside the spaceship. They looked over and saw a huge spatial storm layer in front of them. There were countless spatial cracks in the storm layer, as if the universe had been cut into countless pieces. And from these spatial cracks came a terrifying energy that seemed capable of destroying everything. Ordinary planets would be destroyed in an instant in this storm layer. Any wind blade that flew out of the cracks could easily cut a planet in half. The Eastern Universe's prodigies were all shocked. They had seen places like this before, but they had always treated it as a forbidden zone for life. They had never tried to enter it. After all, they had not lived long enough. The black whale spaceship shook slightly, and its huge tail swayed gently like a whale. Just like that, it entered the space storm layer. Bang, bang, bang. Just as they entered, countless spatial wind blades blasted over, mincing everything in their path. They bombarded the black spaceship in a frenzy, as though they wanted to destroy everything that had invaded this place. Everyone watched on in fear. If the spaceship could not withstand it, they would be reduced to cosmic dust in an instant. However, such worries were completely unnecessary. The whale-like black spaceship's body trembled slightly, emitting azure energy that covered the entire spaceship. When the spatial wind blades came in contact with the blue energy, they all melted and disappeared. It was like a carefree whale that lived in the depths of the ocean. No matter what kind of stormy waves it encountered, they couldn't hurt it at all. What a strong defense! The prodigies from the eastern cosmos were amazed. They could sense how terrifying the spatial wind blades were. Each one of them had the power of a planetary obliteration cannon and could destroy a planet. However, these spatial wind blades had no effect on the black spaceship at all. It was like a gentle breeze. What's this? Suddenly, Xia Ping saw that deep in the void, there seemed to be huge strange patterns emerging from the cracks in the space. Those strange patterns seemed to contain infinite information and emitted strange and mysterious energy. He could sense that these strange patterns seemed to flow with the information of laws. Just by looking at them, he seemed to have a deeper understanding of many martial arts techniques. Oh, it seems like someone has finally discovered some secrets of the central cosmos. The man in blue saw Xia Ping's expression and smiled. Those strange patterns that appeared in the space cracks are actually real law patterns. They contain the truth of the laws. What law patterns? Everyone was shocked. They knew that if they wanted to advance to the sage realm, they needed to understand all kinds of universal laws and control all kinds of laws. This was why sages were so powerful. However, as mortals, no matter what, they could not understand the power of laws. It was like a blind man touching an elephant. Ordinary regions of the universe are extremely vast and perfect. There are no gaps and they are extremely stable, the man in blue said. It is precisely because they are too perfect that the universal laws will not appear at all. It is extremely difficult for ordinary people to understand the universal laws. However, it is completely different in the central cosmos. This region is extremely unstable, and all kinds of spatial cracks appear. This also causes many universal laws to leak out. If you cultivate in the central cosmos, you will also have the chance to understand the laws of heaven and earth with your own eyes. You will feel the birth and growth of the universe, and you will know how the laws work. This will greatly increase your chances of breaking through to the sage realm. Naturally, the lines of laws that you see now are actually very weak. They do not contain too much information about the laws. Only after entering some concealed stage areas will you be able to see more powerful universal laws. I see. Xia Ping immediately understood why Dark North Sage wanted him to go to the central cosmos. Obtaining vast amounts of cultivation resources was only secondary. Most importantly, one could easily sense the various universal laws in the central cosmos. One could even see the operation of the laws with their own eyes. For cultivators, this was no less than an eternal miracle. No human powerhouse from other regions of the universe would have such an opportunity, so it would greatly increase one's chances of breaking through to the sage realm. Of course, it did not mean that one had to stay in the central cosmos. There were certain opportunities in other regions of the universe. The problem was that cultivating in the central cosmos would undoubtedly increase one's chances of breaking through and becoming a sage. Moreover, this was only an opportunity. Even in the central cosmos, where resources were abundant and it was easy to understand universal laws, there were countless human prodigies who could not break through to the sage realm. We're almost there. Chapter 1963. This is the Central Universe? Xia Ping looked at the holographic projection outside the ship and found that after passing through the spatial turbulence layer, the area was calm and peaceful. There was no danger at all. Everywhere he looked, there was a huge ball of light in front of him. These balls of light were colorful and extremely beautiful, like pearls in the ocean. These balls of light were extremely mysterious and powerful. They seemed to circulate the perfect laws of the universe and emitted a powerful aura. Without a doubt, these balls of light were the minor thousand worlds of the central universe. Many geniuses of the East universe also saw this scene. You guessed right. These balls of light are the worlds of the central universe, the middle-aged man in blue said. The blue-robed middle-aged man said, as long as we can break through the barriers of these worlds, we'll be able to enter these worlds. What about the Taichu Holy Land? Where is it? Someone asked curiously. The Taichu Holy Land is in one of these worlds. It's called the Taichu world. It's one of the bases of the human race. You will cultivate in the Taichu world from now on. The middle-aged man in blue said in a low voice. 6 hours passed in a flash. The black whale swam freely in this space, and with a gentle flick of its tail, it could travel several dozen light years away. Its speed was so fast that it was astounding. So, who goes there? At that moment, a voice came from the distance. It was like the voice of the universe, shaking the blood of every prodigy in the ship. They almost vomited blood. It was extremely uncomfortable. It's me. I will open the passage to the Taichu world. The middle-aged man in blue said. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, a huge spatial passage appeared in the void, tearing through the void like a beam of light. It was vast and endless, extending to who knew where. The black ship shook slightly and immediately entered the spatial passage. What a huge world! After passing through the spatial passage, the ship arrived at the Taichu world. Everyone trembled. They used their divine senses to sense the surroundings and felt that this world was so vast that they couldn't see the end. Xia Ping also felt the vastness of this world. His divine sense could cover tens of billions of kilometers in an instant, but he still couldn't see the end of this world. Moreover, this world was filled with rich heaven and earth spirit chi, far more than any holy land he had ever seen. It was as if just breathing here could increase one's power. Xia Ping, this world is not filled with ordinary worldly energy, but the legendary primordial chi. Even the slightest trace of it contains 1,000,000 times more energy than ordinary worldly energy. Corinne was also amazed. Although he had followed the saints of the stars for a long time, he had never been to the holy land of Taichu. After all, it was the holy land of the human clan, and individual cultivators like the saints of the stars were not qualified to enter. Of course, it did not know how powerful the holy land of the human clan was. Now that it looked at it, it was like a country bumpkin entering a city. Of course it's huge. Hearing the words around him, the blue-robed man smiled slightly. The absolute beginning world is more than 3 million light-years in diameter. Even in the normal region, it's considered an extremely large world. Of course, the absolute beginning world was not the reason why it was a holy land for the human race. More importantly, it contained absolute beginning chi, which was extremely beneficial to human cultivation. Cultivating here would allow humans to advance by leaps and bounds. Back then, in order to fight for this absolute beginning world, the human race fought against countless other races. Countless people died before they finally seized it. In the end, it became the holy land of the human clan, cultivating an endless stream of human geniuses. Many of the geniuses of the Eastern universe were excited. They had also heard of the name of absolute beginning chi. Normally, it was a treasure that could not be found, but in this world, it could be swallowed and refined at will. It was said that refining a trace of absolute beginning chi could increase one's magical power and cultivation by 10 or 20 years. If one cultivated in this place all the time, the growth of magical power and cultivation would be unimaginable to ordinary people. It could only be said that the holy land of the human clan was too unfathomable. They all felt that coming to the holy land of Taichu was the right decision. If they had stayed in the Eastern universe, they would not have had any hope of breaking through to the Saint Realm. They would probably have died of old age. Okay, we're here. You can go down now. Someone will come to pick you up. At this moment, the blue-robed middle-aged man waved his hand. The black spaceship shook slightly, and a wave of energy quickly wrapped around everyone's body. In an instant, everyone was teleported out of the spaceship. Bush, bush, bush. In an instant, everyone landed on a square. Xia Ping and the others curiously looked around the square and found that they had appeared in a huge city. There were high-rise buildings everywhere, extremely modern. They also sensed that this city was full of powerful auras, at least of the Transcendence realm. There were also many Thunder Tribulation realm experts, as if they were just ordinary residents of this city. Many of the geniuses were shocked. They had never seen so many powerful experts gathered. It was as if Thunder Tribulation realm experts were worthless, and any passerby was a top human expert. There was even an overwhelming aura coming from some corners of the city. Obviously, there were existences that had at least reached the Saint Realm. But they did not dare to explore at will, lest they angered the saints. There are so many experts here. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes. He felt it the most. Even if he did not use his divine sense to explore the surroundings, he could still sense that this city was full of powerful auras. It seemed that saints were everywhere. It could only be said that this was indeed the holy land of the human clan. Its foundation was so deep that the Eastern universe could not compare at all. At this moment, the appearance of Xia Ping and the others also attracted the attention of many people around the square. Another group of little guys has joined the holy land of Taichu. Look at their ignorant faces. They should be humans from other regions of the universe, not from the central universe. I see. I wonder how many of them will be able to stay in the holy land of Taichu in a few years. There are so many geniuses in the holy land of Taichu, too many to count. Only a few can stay. Is it possible that this group of people has the qualifications to become a saint? You think too much. Even if they are from the central universe, not many have such qualifications. It can only be said that there is some hope. It is said that there is a little guy named Xia Ping among this group of geniuses. He is from the Heaven and Earth sect of the Eastern universe, and he once defeated several outer sect disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. This matter has caused a lot of discussion. There is such a thing? He has such strength without entering the Holy Land of Taichu. It seems that this kid has some skills. We should pay attention to him. Chapter 1964. At this time, a cyan light flew over from afar, and a man in a cyan robe appeared in front of them. Hello, everyone. I'm Lu Zhong, the receptionist of the Holy Land of Taichu. The man in the cyan robe smiled. You're in one of the cities in the outer disciple area of the Holy Land of Taichu. It's called Green Jade City. You'll live here until you become inner disciples. Outer disciples. The Eastern Universe geniuses nodded. They knew that no matter how talented they were, they would only be outer disciples when they joined the Holy Land of Taichu for the first time. They had to meet a series of conditions to become inner disciples. No one was an exception. The absolute beginning world is very big, and so is Green Jade City. There's no shortage of houses, so each of you has a villa to live in. These are your identity cards. The man in the cyan robe waved his hand and threw out a ball of light. It immediately scattered into countless cyan light spots and fell into the hands of Xia Ping and the others. This identity card is very important. It contains the absolute beginning chip, which contains a series of information about you. If you want to enter your villa or enter the absolute beginning world, you need an identity card. If you don't have an identity card, you'll be regarded as an intruder and will be killed on the spot. No one can save you. Everyone looked very serious. They took the cyan light spots one after another. It was a mysterious biochip, which was immediately integrated into their communicators. Xia Ping also integrated the biochip into his communicator. Suddenly, the communicator seemed to be completely wrapped by the biochip, which kept expanding the memory inside. At the same time, it contained an incredible power that seemed to resonate with the absolute beginning world. First of all, let me tell you something. Lu Zhong looked at the crowd and said, "The most important thing in the Taichu world is points. With points, you can buy everything in the Holy Land of Taichu, such as elixirs, spirit herbs, divine powers, and secret manuals. You can even have a saint teach you personally. However, because you've just arrived at the Holy Land of Taichu, you're still considered novices, so each of you will have 50 points, which is a discount for novices. But after that, you'll have to earn them yourself." Oh my God, I can really exchange them for elixirs and elixirs. A bottle of supreme grade elixir, Rising Dragon elixir, only costs 3 points? That's ridiculous. In the outside world, a bottle of peerless grade pills can't be bought without a few $100 million universe dollars. Now, 3 points are actually enough. There are still a large number of Saint tier secret manuals here. Damn it, 10 points for each one. Exaggerated, this is really too exaggerated. Many people exclaimed in surprise. They turned on their communicators and immediately connected to the absolute beginning world's internal network. They could see a series of exchange tables. When they saw the dazzling array of items on the exchange list, all of their eyes turned red. They simply couldn't wait to exchange for all the items on the list and take them for themselves. Amazing! Xia Ping couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The prices of those top-grade and peerless-grade elixirs were ridiculously low. A bottle could be bought for 3 points. There were also a large number of rare secret manuals. But after thinking about it carefully, it was very normal. After all, this was the Holy Land of Taichu, one of the holy lands of the human race. The resources it possessed were beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Moreover, after countless years, the human race had accumulated far too many secret techniques, so many that it was unimaginable. In the outside world, people would fight over it with all their might, but in the Holy Land of Taichu, it was just an ordinary book. As long as one had enough points, they could read it at will. Of course, the cheap price also proved the importance of points. In the Holy Land of Taichu, points were the real hard currency, and nothing else could compare to them. Okay, be quiet. Don't celebrate too early. LV Zhong waved his hand. You are novices, so you have a safe period of 10 years. During these 10 years, you can cultivate at will and use the resources of the Holy Land of Taichu to strengthen yourselves. But once the safe period is over, there will be a test every 10 years. If you pass the test, you can continue to stay in the Holy Land of Taichu. If you fail, you will be immediately eliminated and leave the Holy Land of Taichu. His face was very serious. Everyone was silent. They couldn't help but feel a sense of urgency in their hearts. In fact, they had heard similar things from their elders. Entering the Holy Land of Taichu was not the end, but just the beginning. Next, they would go through countless cruel tests. If they passed, they could continue to stay. If they failed, they would be eliminated. In fact, There were only a handful of people who could stay in the Holy Land of Taichu forever. Therefore, most people would be extremely serious and extend their stay in the Holy Land of Taichu. Otherwise, if they were eliminated by the Holy Land of Taichu after the safe period was over, they would miss out on many opportunities. Senior, I want to ask if points can be traded between each other? Xia Ping asked. Hearing this, Lu Zhong looked at Xia Ping with a little surprise. It seems that you have also discovered that points can be exchanged at will. They can be traded like currency. That is to say, if 100 people transfer 50 points to me, then I will have 5,000 points, right? Xia Ping touched his chin and looked around at the people around him. The people around him didn't know why all their hair stood on end, as if they were being stared at by some evil creature. They vaguely felt that the 50 points in their pockets seemed to be a little difficult to keep. Young man, what do you want to do? Don't mess around. Do you want to rob your companions? The corner of Lu Zhong's mouth twitched. He immediately felt that the boy in front of him was a dangerous creature. To tell you the truth, the Taichu world is an absolute safe zone. Any conflict is absolutely prohibited. Once discovered, you will be expelled from the Taichu world permanently and even imprisoned for 100 years. Don't worry, I am a good citizen. I abide by the law. How could I do such a barbaric thing? Since the Holy Land of Taichu has such a rule, I wouldn't dare to do such a thing. But if we sign a contract and the other party voluntarily transfers the points, then there should be no problem, right? Xia Ping said carelessly. Voluntary transfer? Lu Zhong was speechless. Who in the world would voluntarily give money to others? This kid must be out of his mind. Of course there is no problem. Besides, this is the Holy Land of the human clan, a place where you can't do whatever you want. After thinking about it, Lu Zhong still said, but it is not impossible if you want to duel, but both parties need to agree to enter the arena together. That way, both parties can fight with each other without breaking the rules of the Holy Land of Taichu. He knew that these youths were all hot-blooded and had an inexhaustible amount of energy. A single word of disagreement would lead to conflict. It was impossible to completely stop the duel. Chapter 1965. Okay, that's enough for the introduction. You've traveled from the Eastern Universe to the Central Universe for a long time. Go back to your residences and rest. If you have any questions, you can ask me again. Lu Zhong waved his hand, indicating that the introduction had come to an end. After saying that, he immediately led Xia Ping and the others into the Green Jade City and arrived at a neighborhood. There were many luxurious villas in this neighborhood. Each villa was heavily guarded, as if they were protected by a weapon system. Anyone who trespassed would be destroyed. They immediately took out their communicators and found their own villas. After passing the villa's security system, they entered their rooms. Xia Ping didn't hesitate. He found the villa he was assigned to, villa number 666. Then he swiped his card and entered. However, this villa wasn't much different from the other villas in the Eastern Universe. It had a bedroom, a living room, a kitchen, a quiet room, a practice room, and so on. Most importantly, the materials used to build this villa were very precious. It was surrounded by many restrictive formations. Even a Thunder Tribulation State cultivator couldn't damage this villa at all. After studying the villa for a while, he went back to his bedroom to rest. One day later, phew! Xia Ping, who had rested for a day, felt refreshed. At the same time, he cultivated in this world and breathed in the Taichu Qi of this world. He immediately felt that his magic power was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. He felt that he was a little stronger than he was yesterday. Of course, the increase in magic power was nothing for Xia Ping, who had the 9th Gist Sea of Knowledge. But for other cultivators, the benefits were too great. Cultivating in the Taichu world alone was 10 times faster than cultivating in other places. It seems that there is no teacher in the Holy Land of Taichu. It's all on one's own. Xia Ping soon found that there was no teacher in the Holy Land of Taichu to teach them anything. They had to learn everything by themselves. He also understood why. If cultivating in a saint-level sect was like entering a university, then entering the holy land of Taichu was like becoming a graduate student or even a PhD. After reaching this level, they could actually learn on their own. Even professors couldn't teach them much. At this level, it was purely self-study. Therefore, the Holy Land of Taichu only provided a large number of resources to help these human geniuses cultivate quickly, just like how universities provided large amounts of funds to doctors for various scientific research. Of course, it didn't mean that he didn't have a master to guide him. If he had any doubts, he could spend points to ask the sage directly. This was also one of the benefits of the Holy Land of Taichu. It seems that points are very important in the Holy Land of Taichu. After a day of research, Xia Ping became more and more aware of the importance of points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Points were needed to eat and drink here. Points were needed to buy elixirs, spiritual herbs, magic treasures, and even all kinds of secret techniques. If they had enough points, they could even buy a sage weapon or hire a sage to fight for them. But it's quite difficult to get points. Xia Ping studied the ways to earn points. In fact, the main way to obtain points was to complete various tasks issued by the Holy Land of Taichu. After completing the tasks, a certain amount of points would be awarded. However, most of the mission completion points were only 10 points, 20 points, or even 100 points for the better ones. Of course, there were also missions that offered tens of thousands of points, but they required them to enter the mystic zones. These were missions that belonged to the sages. If mortals like them wanted to accept such missions, they would be courting death. In fact, there was a second way besides completing the tasks to get points. That was to sell all kinds of precious spiritual herbs, elixirs, and even magic treasures to the Holy Land of Taichu. This way, they could also get a certain amount of points. After all, the Holy Land of Taichu also needed all kinds of disciples to help them obtain a lot of resources. However, these were all bought at low prices, which was not cost-effective. But compared with the points obtained by completing tasks, this was the most convenient way for the rich disciples to get points. In fact, this was also one of the sources of income for the Holy Land of Taichu. Beep! At this moment, the doorbell outside the villa rang. Who is it? Xia Ping's heart skipped a beat. He immediately turned on the virtual projection, and the scene outside the villa was displayed. Suddenly, there were more than a dozen people standing at the door, all of whom were geniuses from the Eastern universe. Brother Xia, I'm Wei Liangxing, a true disciple of the Soaring Cloud sect. A young man in white stood at the door and said to the villa's monitor. He knew that Xia Ping must be talking to him through the monitor. Oh, what's the matter? Xia Ping asked. Here's the thing. We're all from the Eastern universe. After coming to the Central universe, we're unfamiliar with the people and the place. We're from the same place, so we want to get to know you, Brother Xia. In the future, we can take care of each other in the Holy Land of Taichu. After all, there's strength in numbers. Wei Liangxing of the Soaring Cloud sect stated his purpose. He wanted to make friends with Xia Ping. I see. My favorite thing to do is to make friends. The more friends I have, the more strength I have, Xia Ping said casually. That's great. Wei Liangxing was overjoyed when he heard this. It's noon. I wonder if Brother Xia would like to have lunch with us, so we can get to know each other. He didn't expect to invite Xia Ping so easily. He originally thought that such a peerless genius must be extremely arrogant and difficult to make friends with. He was prepared to be rejected. But he didn't expect Xia Ping to agree, which made him overjoyed. The other geniuses of the Eastern universe were also slightly happy. After all, they all knew Xia Ping's reputation. He was the only true disciple of Dark North Saint, and he had even defeated many geniuses from the Holy Land of Taichu. Such a thing was enough to make him famous in the Eastern universe. After all, they had also fought with those disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu before, but they failed miserably and were no match for them. They didn't think it was a bad thing to make friends with such a genius. No problem. Xia Ping thought about it and left. He came to the door of the villa. He also wanted to make friends with this group of people and see if he could get some special information. May I know who these people are? As soon as he came out, Xia Ping looked at the people around Wei Liangxing. Oh, this is Yin Shiheng from Thunder Sect. This is Kong Cheng from Yellow Sand Sect. This is Hua Bei from Five Elements Sect. Wei Liangxing introduced these geniuses from the Eastern Universe to Xia Ping one by one. I see. It's an honor to meet you, Xia Ping said politely. Chapter 1966. Before long, Xia Ping and the others arrived at the cafeteria of Green Jade City. There was a black wooden plaque with a few golden words on it, Green Jade Imperial Kitchen. This was the place where many outer disciples of Green Jade City ate. It was the size of 10 forbidden palaces on Xia Ping's Earth in his previous life. At this moment, many people had already entered the Green Jade Imperial Kitchen in groups of 3 to 5. They seemed to be discussing martial arts, cultivation, and information about various missions. There were at least 100,000 people in this place. I didn't expect the Holy Land of Taichu to have so many outer disciples. Kong Cheng of Yellow Sand Sect exclaimed. Of course, this is only a small part of it. There are already a lot of people in the East Universe, South Universe, North Universe, and West Universe. Wei Liangxing of the Soaring Cloud Sect said, not to mention that we humans control 900 million worlds in the Central Universe. The number of humans living in each world is incalculable. Even if there is only one genius in each world, there are 900 million outer disciples. Of course, it is even more difficult to enter the Holy Land of Taichu. I'm afraid there may not be one genius in 100 worlds. Also, countless geniuses are eliminated from the Holy Land of Taichu every year. Even so, the number of ordinary outer disciples in the Holy Land of Taichu is always in the tens of millions. Everyone nodded. The universe was too vast, and there were too many humans to count. Even if the probability of geniuses appearing was low, there would still be a lot of them. I heard that all the food in the Green Jade Imperial Kitchen is free. I wonder if that's true? Yin Shiheng of the Thunder Sect asked curiously. Of course it's true. I've already asked the receptionist, Lu Zhong. Everything here is free. Wei Liangxing of the Soaring Cloud Sect smiled. Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up and eat. I'm starving. Hua Bei of the Five Elements Sect said eagerly. The group of people found a table nearby. Suddenly, a virtual projection appeared on the table, and a series of luxurious menus appeared on the virtual screen. My God! The staple food is spirit rice and wishful silver rice. They can eat as much as they want. They're so rich. A bowl of wishful silver rice like this is worth 100,000 universe credits in the outside world. Aren't they afraid that we'll bankrupt the Holy Land of Taichu by eating so much? This is nothing. There's also glazed lotus soup, steamed white tiger bone, longevity porridge, 10 perfect tonic soup, and so on. The ingredients in them are all expensive. It's really too extravagant. To be honest, I'm also from a big family with a net worth of hundreds of millions, but I can't eat as much as you do. Isn't that right? Eating once or twice is fine, but eating every day, who can stand it? Moreover, the family has so many people, one bite from each person can bankrupt the family. No wonder the Holy Land of Taichu is so rich. Everyone exclaimed in admiration. They didn't expect there to be so many delicacies, and they were all free. If they ate these delicacies for a long period of time, their bodies would undergo a subtle change, and their aptitude would increase. It was the same even if they advanced to the law phase realm. Ha! What a bunch of country bumpkins who have never seen the world. You're making such a big fuss over such a small amount of food. You're a disgrace to the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. Have you never eaten anything in your life? At this moment, a voice rang out from the side. It was very arrogant. What? Hearing this, everyone looked over and glared at the speaker. They found that it was a young man in cyan who spoke. There were 5 or 6 young men beside him, all of whom exuded the aura of the peak of the law phase realm. They also looked at Hua Bei and the others mockingly, as if they were watching a monkey show. What's wrong? What are you looking at? Haven't you seen the geniuses of the Holy Land of Taichu? You're really a country bumpkin with no knowledge. How laughable! The man in cyan mocked with contempt, extremely arrogant. Hua Bei and the others were furious, but they also remembered the rules of the Holy Land of Taichu. They couldn't fight in private, or they would be immediately expelled from the Holy Land of Taichu. They didn't want to be eliminated just because they broke the rules when they just arrived at the Holy Land of Taichu. So, they endured it and didn't argue with the other party. You what? You look like you're not convinced. What did I say wrong? Just say it. Country bumpkins just don't understand human language, do you? Seeing that Hua Bei and the others were angry but didn't dare to speak, the man in cyan became even more arrogant. We can understand human language, but I'm afraid that someone is not speaking human language but barking dog language. Who can understand such words? It's a bit too much. At this time, Xia Ping said lightly. Hearing this, Hua Bei and the others suddenly laughed, laughing loudly. Boss, that guy called you a dog. A black-clothed lackey next to him immediately shouted. Shut up, do you think I don't fucking understand? I don't need you to talk too much. The green-robed man cursed loudly. He wanted nothing more than to slap his own little brother. His face darkened as he glared at Xia Ping and said, Little brat, you've got guts, huh? How dare you talk to me Shi-in like that? Are you tired of living in Green Jade City? Don't pretend. Even if your father is the city lord of Green Jade City, I can still stay in Green Jade City. Do you believe it or not? Xia Ping said disdainfully. He could tell at a glance that this guy was pretending. Good, very good. What's your name? If you have the guts, tell me. I'd like to see what kind of superhuman you are. The man in cyan was furious, staring at Xia Ping with a gloomy face. I'm Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect of the Eastern Universe. If you have the guts, come and take revenge on me. I, Yin Shishing, will wait for you, Xia Ping said carelessly. Hearing this, Wei Liangxing, Yin Shiheng, Kong Cheng and the others' mouths twitched. They looked at Xia Ping speechlessly. This was the first time they had seen someone lie without batting an eyelid. He was too thick-skinned. Well, I'll remember you, Yin Shishing, Xian said coldly. He wanted to say something, but before he finished, someone jumped out from the side. Wait, brother, don't fall for this bastard's trick. He's definitely not Yin Shishing. I'm the real Yin Shishing, the real Yin Shishing. This bastard's real name is Xia Ping, Universe Sex Xia Ping, the evil Xia Ping. Don't take revenge on the wrong person. It was a young man in white. He was originally watching the show from the side, but now he jumped out in exasperation. He glared at Xia Ping, wanting nothing more than to eat this bastard up. He was Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect. What do you mean? What do you mean you're the real Yin Shishing? Why are you jumping out to cause trouble? Xian said unhappily. Brother, you don't know. This bastard likes to pretend to be someone else's identity and cause trouble everywhere, making others take the blame for him. I've been harmed badly by this bastard. To tell you the truth, I'm the real Yin Shishing of the Five Elements sect. That bastard is talking nonsense. He's lying to you. His name is Xia Ping. Chapter 1967. At this moment, Yin Shishing stared at Xia Ping angrily, wishing he could eat this shameless bastard alive. To be honest, he was very happy when he saw this scene just now. This scourge had offended the local tyrant as soon as he arrived. How could he live a good life in the Holy Land of Taichu in the future? He could imagine that this kid would have a hard time in the Holy Land of Taichu in the future. Maybe he would even be suppressed to the point where he couldn't stand out. But how could he have known that Xia Ping was so sinister and full of evil tricks? At this time, he actually wanted to pretend to be him. He wanted to cause trouble by saying that he was the Five Elements sect's Yin Shishing. If this kid really succeeded, wouldn't the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu come after him? He would be the scourge of this bastard. Thinking of what happened before, it was this bastard's big mouth that went around saying that he and Yin Shishing were best friends. He also caused trouble everywhere and killed demons. Those demons couldn't do anything to Xia Ping, so they came to kill him. Yin Shishing was a true disciple of the Five Elements sect and a disciple of a sage. He had a promising future, but he almost couldn't stay in the Eastern Universe anymore. It was all because of this bastard. But now that he was in the Holy Land of Taichu, this bastard still didn't let him go. He even wanted to make Yin Shishing a scourge. How could he tolerate this? He would never sit back and watch this kind of thing continue to happen. "Oh, Brother Ian, how have you been? I didn't expect to meet you in the cafeteria. It must be fate. Why didn't I see you on the spaceship? Did you come to the Holy Land of Taichu in advance?" Xia Ping greeted Yin Shishing warmly. "Fate my ass." Yin Shishing wanted to rush up and punch this bastard so hard that he couldn't take care of himself. If he hadn't been there, he probably wouldn't have known that he was the scourge. Maybe someone would put a sack on his back and beat him up while he was walking on the streets of Qingyu City. He wouldn't even know what would happen after he was beaten up. "Damn, bastard, how dare you lie to me and use a fake name to fool me? How dare you?" At this moment, Xian finally knew what had happened. He suddenly became furious and glared at Xia Ping. "How could I fool you? With Brother Shi's intelligence, do you think I can fool you? I'm sure you've seen through everything I said just now." Xia Ping said carelessly. "This." Xian was so depressed that he wanted to vomit blood, but he couldn't say anything. Because if he denied Xia Ping's words, wouldn't that mean that he had been fooled and had a low IQ? However, he didn't deny Xia Ping's words. His anger was completely unreasonable. Both his paths of retreat and forward were blocked by this bastard. He was in a dilemma and didn't know what to say. "Xia Ping, cut the crap. Don't quibble here. Why did you pretend to be me just now?" Yin Shishing angrily glared at Xia Ping. "What impersonation? Brother Yin and I are best friends. Your name is my name, and my pot is your pot. There's no distinction between us, so why bother?" Xia Ping waved his hand. "I see. You two are in cahoots." Xian suddenly understood. "No, I'm not with him. This brat and I are irreconcilable. Irreconcilable? Do you know that?" Yin Shishing was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He didn't want to be involved with this bastard. Anyway, if he got involved with this brat, it would not end well for him. "Wait, Xia Ping? This name is familiar. I seem to have heard it from somewhere." Suddenly, a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu next to him seemed to think of something and stared at Xia Ping. "Are you the disciple of the Qiankuan sect who defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, Meng Zhenshuan, and other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu?" "What? My reputation has spread to the Holy Land of Taichu? Is it that famous?" Xia Ping touched his chin and said happily. Unknowingly, he had become so famous. "Ah, of course you're famous. You're just a country bumpkin who beat a few disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu by luck. How dare you say that our disciples are all fake? This matter has spread all over the Holy Land of Taichu. Many people want to make trouble for you. They want to see how powerful you are and how dare you be so arrogant." Xian sneered. After knowing that Xia Ping was the legendary person, his attitude immediately changed. He stared at Xia Ping as if he was looking at his prey and no longer wanted to make peace. "So this brat is Xia Ping. I've been looking for him for a long time. This guy defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, Meng Zhenshuan, and the others. He doesn't look that great. How dare he say that our disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are all fake? How dare he? We must teach this newcomer a lesson and let him know why this is the holy land of the human race. The universe is very big, and it's not a place where a bumpkin like him can run amok." Inside the cafeteria, many outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were alarmed. They surrounded Xia Ping and glared at him. They were also infuriated by the news. Because as disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, each of them had a supreme sense of honor and could not tolerate being slandered by others. Now, there was someone who dared to despise the Holy Land of Taichu like this. If this was just said by an insignificant person, they would not take it seriously. But this person had defeated 3 outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu and said these words with the attitude of a winner. This immediately caused the crowd to be agitated. Even the Palace of Darkness laughed at the Holy Land of Taichu when they found out about this. They despised and ridiculed them every day. It was conceivable that this was simply adding fuel to the fire, and the situation was completely intensified. Seeing the powerful auras surrounding them, Wei Liangxing, Yin Shiheng, Kong Cheng, and the others were so scared that their faces turned pale. They regretted it so much that their intestines turned green. If they had known that Xia Ping had become the target of public criticism, they would never have made friends with him. Now that they had become Xia Ping's friends, they would inevitably be targeted by other disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. Maybe they would be regarded as Xia Ping's accomplices and be attacked for revenge. They suddenly felt that their future was bleak. Originally, they had planned to keep a low profile in the Holy Land of Taichu and grow wretchedly. They did not expect that God would not give them this opportunity at all. Yin Shishing's heart trembled with fear. Fuck, fortunately he jumped out in time. If he really took the blame for Xia Ping, his life would be extremely miserable. Say it, Xia Ping. If you dare to say it again, I will give you a chance to reorganize your words now. If you dare to say that our disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are fake, that we are vulnerable. Xian shouted, trying to intimidate Xia Ping into bowing his head. Oh, a bunch of idiots. So what if I say it? Isn't it the truth? Bite me if you have the guts. Chapter 1968. What? As soon as this remark came out, it immediately caused an uproar among the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. They had no idea that Xia Ping dared to say such a thing in front of so many people, asking them to bite him. How arrogant was he? He was treating them like dogs, the kind that like to bite people everywhere. Crazy, this kid is crazy. Yin Shishing and the others were so scared that they almost fainted. To be honest, in the current situation, Xian and the others were a pack of wolves, and they were a flock of sheep, weak and defenseless sheep. In the face of this group of hungry wolves, this kid still dared to provoke them so unscrupulously, asking them to bite him. He was afraid that he would die. Generally speaking, in the face of such a situation, it was not a big deal to bow down and apologize a little. This was called retreating in order to advance, which was a brilliant combat strategy. But what was going on now? This kid directly provoked them, leaving no room for negotiation. They had never seen such a reckless person. He was obviously a little sheep, but he foolishly rushed toward a group of hungry wolves. Wasn't this a sheep walking into a tiger's mouth? What an arrogant bastard. Motherfucker, if this wasn't the Holy Land of Taichu, I would have killed him immediately. I've long heard that this country bumpkin is extremely arrogant and condescending, but I didn't expect it to be true. This guy is finished. He dared to offend so many of us. Even if the Holy Land of Taichu is very big, there is absolutely no place for him. His life is completely over. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu gritted their teeth, wishing they could immediately rush up and bite this arrogant kid to death. However, they still had scruples about the strict rules of the Holy Land of Taichu, so they dared not do anything here. Brat, you've got guts. Xian shouted angrily and stared at Xia Ping provocatively. In that case, do you dare to fight me in the duel field? Let's see who is the real fake. Duel field? Xia Ping blinked and looked at Xian. Before he could speak, Wei Liangxing next to him spoke. Xia Ping, don't be impulsive. Don't agree to this request. Once you enter the duel arena, if you lose, you'll have to lose at least 10 points to the opponent. If it's a bet, you'll lose even more points. His expression was very serious. We only have 50 points. If we lose 10 points, I'm afraid we'll lose a lot of things, which will slow down our progress. This guy is really sinister. Wei Liangxing had once looked up the rules of the dueling arena. Although they could duel at will, they had to pay a certain price every time they fought. Some veterans like to find rookies to duel in order to earn rookie points. Rookies didn't know the importance of points in the beginning, and as a result, their points were emptied by the veterans, resulting in heavy losses. This is a genius who once defeated a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu. He's very powerful. You'll definitely win. What are you afraid of? Or are you afraid of losing to me? Xian tried to goad him into action. What? Why would I be afraid of you? Who the hell do you think you are? I can defeat someone like you in a matter of minutes. You're just a piece of trash that gives me points. As expected, Xia Ping was infuriated and immediately shouted. Xia Ping, don't fall into this guy's trap. Wei Liangxing dissuaded him. Although this guy is also a Transcendence Realm cultivator, he has been cultivating in the Holy Land of Taichu for a long time. his martial arts and combat experience are not comparable to ordinary cultivators of the same level. It's stupid to rashly fight with him. Why don't we wait for a period of time and improve our strength? It's not too late to fight then. Wait, Myas. It's too late to wait for a period of time. Do I have to wait for you to advance to the sage realm before fighting? Don't talk nonsense. If you have the guts, fight now. What's the point of talking? If you don't dare, surrender, kowtow, apologize, and say that you're useless, she then sneered. He stared at Wei Liangxing, his eyes full of warning. If you dare to talk nonsense again, it'll be your turn to suffer. Seeing this look, Wei Liangxing suddenly felt a chill in his heart and didn't dare to talk anymore. Don't worry, this guy is just a piece of trash that can be defeated with one punch. It's a fool's dream to think that he can beat me. Xia Ping waved his hand to reassure Wei Liangxing. But fighting one round is really too easy. If you want to fight, fight all of us. He stood with his hands behind his back and looked around. If any of you are dissatisfied with me or not convinced by me, feel free to jump out. I will accept all of you. Whoever loses the competition will lose 50 points. Do you dare? What? As soon as these words came out, many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were enraged. They glared at Xia Ping. This guy was so arrogant that he even dared to challenge all of them. How much did this bastard want to look down on them before he gave up? And he dared to say that if he lost the match, he would lose 50 points. Did he think he would win? Did this guy know how much 50 points were in the Holy Land of Taichu? Xia Ping, you're really brave. You even dare to bet 50 points on a round. Someone shouted, but it won't work, because if you lose the match, you can't afford it. Then why should we bet with you? Who said I can't afford it? I don't have much, but I have a lot of money. Xia Ping looked like a nouveau riche. What's the use of money? Only points are useful here. A group of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu said contemptuously. Oh, in that case, how many points can this holy herb be exchanged for? Xia Ping waved his hand and immediately took out a stalk of sage medicine. What? This kid actually has a stalk of sage medicine? It's really a holy herb. Its medicinal power is so strong. It has already surpassed the medicinal power of 2 million years. Damn, what kind of luck does this kid have? How can he have a holy herb? Such a holy herb can be exchanged for at least 30,000 points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Generally speaking, no one will exchange for it because holy herbs are too precious. They might as well use it themselves. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were green with envy. They couldn't wait to immediately take the holy herb in Xia Ping's hands for themselves. They didn't expect this kid to be so rich that he even had a holy herb. What a fuss. A group of country bumpkins who have never seen the world. To tell you the truth, I have a lot of holy herbs like this. They're like weeds. Do you think I can afford to pay you back? Xia Ping looked at the crowd like a nouveau riche looking at a pauper. The other side was completely inexperienced. Keep bragging. You don't have to pay taxes for bragging anyway. You have a lot of holy herbs like weeds. Why don't you go to heaven? If it's true, even a saint is not as rich as you. But even if I don't have a lot, a few holy herbs are enough to pay for it. This kid is not bragging. He really has some skills. He's rich. Chapter 1969. Stop talking. Do you want to fight or not? Don't waste my time. I'm very busy, and I can get a few holy herbs in a minute, Xia Ping said impatiently. Okay, I'll bet with you. Since you want to give me points, there's nothing to be afraid of. I want to have a showdown with you today. The first person to speak was Xian. He couldn't wait any longer. Because this was clearly a profitable business. He could earn 50 points with a random fight. He would be a fool if he didn't agree. It was better than going out to do a few tasks without any risk. I'll bet too. I've never seen a person who wants to give away money like this in my life. It would be strange if I didn't bet. Count me in. It doesn't matter if it's money or not. I just want this kid to see the strength and integrity of a disciple of the Holy Land of Taichu, which you outsiders can't compare with. That's right. The humans from our central universe are the strongest. The humans from other universes are all useless. I want to prove this point. Seeing that the first person stood up, the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu couldn't sit still anymore. They all agreed to fight with Xia Ping, with a bet of 50 points. After all, this was a bet to give away money, and they had no reason to refuse. Although this kid had defeated the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, none of the people present had such a record. They were all peerless talents from all over the human race, and no one would think that they were worse than others. Good, very good. Then line up, sign up one by one, and sign the gambling contract. Xia Ping yelled, telling the group to line up obediently. Time passed quickly and an hour passed. As a result, more than 10,000 people signed up to fight with Xia Ping. Of course, a considerable number of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu kept a wait-and-see attitude. They still had some doubts in their hearts, thinking that Xia Ping was a little too confident. Maybe he had some skills, but he didn't dare to sign up. Some people didn't even have 50 points. Even if they spent all of them, they wouldn't be able to save their lives. They were so angry that they pounded their chests, regretting spending their points too fast. The group of geniuses from the Eastern Universe was stunned when they saw this. Is Xia Ping crazy? If we lose all the matches, we'll lose 500,000 points. How many quests will we have to complete to get that back? We won't be able to earn it back even if we die. But if I win all of them, I'll earn 500,000 points and become rich overnight. Bullshit, it's not that simple. Do you really think these disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu are made of mud? Kong Cheng and the rest were shocked by this scene. That's where you're wrong. This is actually Brother Xia's brilliance. Wei Liangsheng smiled faintly, showing a confident look. Brother Wei, what do you think about this? The group of people asked curiously. Wei Liangsheng said, on the surface, it looks like the scale of this duel is very big, and if you lose, you'll go bankrupt. But in fact, Brother Xia is deliberately making this matter bigger. Think about it carefully. If you were to duel with one person, you would lose, and it would be very difficult to make a comeback. However, it's different to duel with 10,000 people. As long as the probability of winning is more than 50%, it's a guaranteed profit, and the higher the probability of winning, the more profit. There is no doubt that Brother Xia won this gambling fight. He won before the fight even started. Those people didn't think of this and were fooled by Brother Xia. I'm afraid it's too late to regret now. So that's how it is. I didn't expect Brother Xia to be so treacherous. He could even think of this. His family runs a casino, right? In fact, he doesn't need to win all the matches. Once the winning rate exceeds 50%, he can make a lot of money, more than us, and become rich overnight. Maybe he can earn tens of thousands of points. The group of people suddenly realized. Their intestines suddenly turned green with jealousy because they knew how difficult it was to earn points in the Holy Land of Taichu. Many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu had been here for 10 years and had not accumulated more than 100 points. But now Xia Ping had the opportunity to earn tens of thousands of points every minute. If this wasn't getting rich overnight, what was it? Damn it, is this guy going to make a lot of money again? Yin Shishing next to him was extremely jealous. This was supposed to be a crisis, but it was casually played by this kid and turned into a business that could make a lot of money. The world was really too unfair. This matter quickly spread throughout Qingyu City, and even the outer disciples of other cities knew about it. Because a new disciple actually challenged tens of thousands of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. This was simply an unprecedented event. Have you heard? Xia Ping from the Qianquan sect of the Eastern Universe actually dared to challenge tens of thousands of people. He's simply too bold, and if he loses a match, he'll lose 50 points. Are you kidding me? How can this bet be made? Isn't he afraid that Xia Ping can't afford to lose? It's said that the kid is very rich. He has a bunch of holy medicines on him. If he doesn't have enough points, he'll pay with holy medicines. Damn it. Damn rich people and a bunch of holy medicines. Why haven't I seen any of them? It's so unfair. I wonder who will win and who will lose this bet? Do you even need to ask? Xia Ping will definitely lose. He's just a bumpkin from the Eastern Universe. How can he compare to us geniuses from the Central Universe? There's no way he can compare. That's right. The central universe has 900 million world layers. We are all geniuses selected from these 900 million world layers. How can that kid compare to us? Just wait and see. That kid will definitely lose everything this time. It doesn't matter how much money he has. He'll lose everything. Interesting. When will the duel begin? It's said that it's tonight. That kid plans to fight one after the other and finish it all in one go. He's so arrogant. He really thinks that the disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu are fake. This time, we must let that bumpkin know how powerful we are from the central universe. We're definitely not someone that those people from the barren lands can casually provoke. After hearing the news, many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu were also very interested. They wanted to know what kind of tricks Xia Ping, who dared to challenge tens of thousands of disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, had. They all set out to the duel arena. And this matter even affected some saint-level existences. They also heard about it. Interesting. Recently, a little guy has just entered the Holy Land of Taichu and caused a big event. That little guy seems to be Brother Baiming's last disciple. What? He's Baiming's disciple? That's a little interesting. I wonder what he's capable of. Let's go and have a look. If he doesn't have some ability, he wouldn't dare to cause such a scene. Chapter 1970. At night, in the arena of Qingyu City. The arena was large enough to hold millions of seats, all stacked on top of each other. The dueling platform in the middle covered an area of over 1,000 square kilometers. There were even restrictive magic formations set up around it. Ordinary powers would not be able to damage the dueling platform at all. The audience sitting in the seats would also be protected by the boundary, so they would not be threatened by the shockwaves of the duel. At this moment, Xia Ping, Xian, and the other geniuses of the central universe were also waiting for the duel to begin. The audience seats were also filled with spectators. There was not a single empty seat. One could imagine how much attention this duel would attract. Which one of us will go first? Xian looked at the crowd and wanted to ask who wanted to go first. For a moment, everyone was silent and refused to speak. Although they were extremely confident in their own strength, Xia Ping was an expert who had defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Jinxuan. No matter how much they underestimated him, there was a limit. The first to go would definitely be the most dangerous. They had no idea what the other party's trump card was, so they were very hesitant and wanted to see what the situation was like. All of you are so timid. Do you think you are disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? He is just a country bumpkin from the Eastern Universe. I, Miao Wushuang, can defeat him in minutes. At this moment, a young man in a flowery shirt stood up and said that he would go first. Miao Wushuang is going first? Looks like we are in the bag this time. Who is Miao Wushuang? You don't even know him? Looks like you are really ignorant. This kid is one of the direct descendants of the Miao family. He has reached the peak of the transcendence realm at only 500 years old. He is said to be one of the descendants of the Miao family with the most hope of becoming a sage. It is said that the patriarch of the Miao family values him very much. I see. Looks like defeating Xia Ping this time is a sure thing. Indeed. Although Miao Wushuang is not the best among the outer sect disciples, his combat strength is also obvious. His battle record is impressive. Everyone was talking. Obviously, many people knew Miao Wushuang. He was an extremely powerful expert in Qingyu City. Ordinary people were definitely not his match. Miao Wushuang, you have to be careful. He is an expert who defeated Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Jinxuan. He might have some powerful trump cards. Xian reminded him. Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Jinxuan are nothing. How can they compare to me? Miao Wushuang said proudly, who doesn't know that I, Miao Wushuang, am proficient in 36 divine abilities such as Moon and Stars, 10,000 Mammoth Gravity, Dark Hell Demonic Palm, 6 Gods Chaotic Cudgel, 1,000 Water Force, Fierce Bird Claw, Universe Seal, and so on. Every one of them has earth-shattering power that can tear mountains and rivers. If I were to use, of all of them, I would be Meow. A country bumpkin from the eastern cosmos like him has never seen many experts. He doesn't know how to write the word death if he wants to fight me, Miao Wushuang. He was of his head. With width of chin. Get lost. Don't compare me with you. You're just an ant. If you want me to be careful, you have to have the right to be careful. Miao Wushuang said disdainfully. Just wait and see. I will use all of my skills to teach this kid a lesson one by one. I will let him know how big the universe is and how insignificant he is. Don't think that he can come to the central universe and show off in the holy land of Taichu just because he defeated a few pieces of trash. Whoosh. As soon as he finished, he did not waste any more words. With a flash, he jumped onto the arena and faced Xia Ping from afar. Kid, the first battle will be between me and you. Miao Wushuang stood with his hands clasped behind his back. He looked at the sky arrogantly, as if he did not want to look at Xia Ping. It is your honor to have the opportunity to fight with me, one of the top cultivators in Green Jade City. This is a great opportunity that many people may not get in their lifetime. It is a supreme honor. Of course, because this is the arena of the holy land of Taichu, you will not die, but you will inevitably be seriously injured. I hope you will learn your lesson this time. Don't casually provoke cultivators who are stronger than you. That is the road to death. Oh, so you are the strongest cultivator in Green Jade City. You dare to be the first to fight? It seems that you are quite capable. Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at Miao Wushuang. Ignorant country bumpkin. How can you describe my strength in words? Stop talking nonsense and start. Let your body feel what is going on. I hope you will not lose so quickly. Let me enjoy the thrill of battle. Miao Wushuang smiled ferociously. Clang, at this moment, the bell on the arena rang, resounding over the entire arena, indicating that the duel had officially begun. Martial arts magic, all nature's gravity. Miao Wushuang shouted and made a seal with his hands. With his body as the center, a terrifying gravitational field was immediately generated, covering a radius of thousands of kilometers, enveloping the entire arena. Suddenly, a terrifying gravitational force was generated in this gravitational field. Even the space seemed to be distorted. Every gravel was crushed by the gravitational force, and the entire arena was shaking. Any cultivator in this gravitational field would find it difficult to move an inch. It was as if there were tens of thousands of mountains on their bodies. Ha, stupid guy. Under my all nature's gravity, you probably can't even breathe. Surrender obediently. Fuck, what the hell is going on? Miao Wushuang intended to appreciate the dejection, unwillingness, and indignation of his vanquished opponent lying on the floor under the infinite gravity. He also intended to ridicule him and give a speech of victory. But suddenly, he found that the young man had ignored his gravitational force. In a flash, he appeared in front of him and punched him in the head. The punch landed on his head and immediately caused a loud sound like the morning bell and evening drum. The void exploded, and his body flew out as if it was out of his control. In the next second, his entire body fiercely smashed into a barrier in the air above the arena, causing the entire barrier to shake and buzz incessantly. At the same time, the barrier produced a terrifying recoil force. Miao Wushuang spat out a mouthful of blood, which splattered on the ground. His body fell from the sky above the barrier and smashed into the ground, creating a deep pit. Chapter 1971. Miao Wushuang fainted after being hit by the fist. Suddenly, a ray of light wrapped around his body and teleported him away. He was immediately taken away for emergency treatment. This was one of the functions of the dueling ring. It could teleport people who were on the verge of death out at any time, ensuring the safety of the duelist to the greatest extent possible. This is one of the top masters in Green Jade City. How could he be knocked out with just one punch? He's too fragile. Kong Cheng of the Yellow Sand sect couldn't help but yell in the audience. He couldn't believe his eyes. A group of disciples from the holy land of Taichu couldn't help but cover their faces. It was so embarrassing. They had boasted that they were invincible before, but now they couldn't even take a punch and were directly taken away for treatment. They felt that this punch not only defeated Miao Wushuang but also slapped the faces of many disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu. They would think that the disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were so fragile that they couldn't even take a punch. Didn't he say that he was proficient in 36 divine powers, and that each of them had earth-shattering power? Why didn't he use them? Yin Shiheng of the Thunder Sect was also stunned. He had wanted to see how powerful the disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were, but he didn't expect that he would be knocked out by Xia Ping with just one punch. It's not that Miao Wushuang didn't want to use them, it's just that Brother Xia is too powerful. Wei Liangsheng of the Cloud Soaring Sect's eyes lit up. You didn't see it, but Miao Wushuang is indeed powerful. His all-nature gravity can create an omnipresent gravitational field. Ordinary people can't do anything in that gravitational field. They can only be severely suppressed and can't move an inch. His arrogance is reasonable. Unfortunately, he was so unlucky to meet a monster like Brother Xia who could completely ignore his gravitational field and directly beat him up with one punch. That being said, because the battle happened too fast, no one noticed Miao Wushuang's strength. Everyone only saw Miao Wushuang yell a few words and then be beaten up by a punch. Even if they wanted to say a few words and say that Miao Wushuang was worthy of his reputation, they couldn't. The human geniuses from other universes were suddenly in an uproar. I didn't expect the disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu to be so weak. They couldn't even take a punch. I thought the Holy Land of Taichu was amazing, but it turns out that it's just SOSO. I'm really disappointed. With this level of strength, they dare to strut around in front of us. To think that they have the face to do so. It looks like our initial caution was unnecessary. These geniuses from the central cosmos are nothing to fear. Everyone was discussing this because this battle had completely filled them with confidence. They were all humans. Even if this group of people came from the central universe, they were only SOSO. If they were given enough time, they could easily catch up. Damn it. It's all that idiot Miao Wushuang's fault. He's a disgrace to our central cosmos. The geniuses of the central universe gnashed their teeth in anger when they heard this. They had been extremely arrogant in front of this group of people, acting like city people looking down on country bumpkins. But now that Miao Wushuang had been defeated, they were being looked down upon. Xian and the others also had ugly expressions on their faces. They didn't expect that the famous Miao Wushuang couldn't even take a punch from Xia Ping. This was far beyond their expectations. After all, even if Miao Wushuang was a fake, he shouldn't have been unable to take a punch. This bastard had boasted that he was proficient in 36 mystic arts. It turned out that it was all fake. Who's next? Hurry up and don't waste my time. I have to go back to sleep. Xia Ping stood on the dueling platform and urged. The group of people was furious when they heard this. This bastard was too arrogant. What did he think this duel was? He was already so nervous, yet he still wanted to go back to sleep. Did he think this duel was a game? Or was it just an after-dinner exercise for this kid? As soon as he finished speaking, a figure flashed and immediately appeared on the dueling platform. It was a young man dressed in white, his body surrounded by a terrifying aura of lightning. There seemed to be a lightning rune between his brows, like a vertical eye of lightning. Xia Ping, Wei Han will take you on. Don't think that you'll take advantage of Miao Wushuang's carelessness to launch a sneak attack a second time. With me here, you're done for today. The man in white called himself Wei Han. He'd wanted to continue observing before making a move, but this kid's reputation was like the sun in the sky. The new students were starting to look down on the Central Universe's geniuses. Thus, he couldn't hold back any longer and decided to make a move immediately. He wanted to take this kid's limelight a little and completely suppress him. Many people immediately cried out when they heard this. Wei Han? He's the descendant of the Wei clan, a famous sage family among the outer disciples. This kid is a true genius. His battle prowess is at least among the top 10 in Qingyu City. He's much stronger than that fake Miao Wushuang. I didn't expect him to participate in the duel. Obviously, Wei Han was very famous. Almost everyone present had more or less heard of Wei Han's name. Oh, is that so? That makes me want to see him even more. Xia Ping raised an eyebrow. Clang. The bell rang again, signaling the official start of the duel. Kid, speed is the only thing unbeatable in the world of martial arts. Under absolute speed, you can't even touch a hair on my body. You're no match for me, Wei Han. Wei Han immediately moved as soon as he finished speaking. He used his mystique and turned into a bolt of lightning, moving all over the duel arena. This kind of movement speed was so fast that even divine sense couldn't detect it. Many people could only see streaks of silver lightning in the air. It was like a large silver net that covered the void. It was exceptionally beautiful. This is Wei Han's famous martial mystique, lightning flash. Once he uses it, no one can catch a trace of Wei Han. He's invincible. Indeed, this mystique is too unfathomable. No matter how strong one's strength is, they can't hit Wei Han. He's already in an invincible position. Isn't that so? But as long as Wei Han finds a flaw, it'll be the end of the enemy. Speed is everything. It's not without reason that Wei Han can become one of the top 10 in Qingyu City. That kid is done for. He's definitely going to lose this time. There's no reason for him to win. Seeing the silver lightning in the sky, many disciples from the holy land of Taichu discussed and exclaimed. Chapter 1972. Xia Ping, you can't see me, can you? Do you feel powerless under my absolute speed? Do you think that no matter how hard you try, you can't hit me? In the air, an arrogant and complacent voice rang out. It's right to feel powerless. This is the power of extreme speed. No matter what tricks you have, you can't stop me. As long as I want to, I can kill you in an instant. Bush, bush, bush. Streaks of silver flashes appeared in the night sky, forming a silver trail. It was like a giant net, covering everything, approaching step by step with unparalleled murderous intent. Wei Han was extremely proud of his speed. He didn't want to kill Xia Ping so soon. He treated this duel as a performance to show everyone how powerful he was. After all, there were many people watching this duel. He could take this opportunity to make a name for himself. Really? Why do I feel that your speed is just SOSO? There's nothing special about it. Xia Ping's face was calm, completely unmoved. Although Wei Han's speed was indeed faster than a superhuman's, it was still slow in front of Yi Futian's golden crow eyes, and Yi Futian could see it clearly. But these words completely infuriated Wei Han, because speed was his forte. Among all the disciples in the holy land of Taichu, few were faster than him. But this kid said that his speed was just SOSO. This was simply looking down on him, and he couldn't stand it at all. Kid, you've completely pissed me off. How dare you say that my speed is SOSO? Today, I'll show you what real power is. Have you ever been kicked by lightning? Wei Han was furious. As soon as he finished speaking, Wei Han suddenly moved. He couldn't stand it anymore. His whole body turned into a silver flash of lightning, rushing towards Xia Ping, trying to defeat this kid with one blow. Suddenly, Xia Ping raised his hand and lightly slapped it against Wei Han's right leg. The powerful force instantly sent Wei Han flying. Impossible! Wei Han felt a strong rebounding force from Xia Ping's hand, causing his blood to boil. But what shocked him the most was not this, but the fact that Xia Ping was actually able to block his kick, as if he had seen through all of his actions. What's going on? Why are you able to block my attack? It's as if you can see through my movements. What exactly did you do? He simply couldn't believe it as he stared at Xia Ping. I didn't do anything. You just kicked me and I blocked it with my hand. It's a very normal thing. Xia Ping said honestly. Bullshit. Wei Han was so angry that he was about to go crazy. Xia Ping's casual expression made him even angrier. His lightning flash was the fastest speed he could muster, and it represented the pinnacle of speed. How could it be blocked so easily? Ordinary people didn't even know what had happened and were instantly defeated by him. If he wanted to, he could kill any enemy, and they wouldn't be able to resist. But this kid actually said that it was a very ordinary thing. Just how was this ordinary? Good, very good. I've completely underestimated you. In order to show my respect to you, I've decided to give it my all this time. I'll let you know what the ultimate speed is, the speed of light. Wei Han bellowed. Suddenly his entire body turned into a silver light, and countless light runes intertwined with each other. Swoosh, 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 the entire sky seemed to be filled with countless rays of light, intertwining with each other like countless rays of light. This was the trace left behind by Wei Han's movement in midair. Lightning flash sky. Wei Han's voice rang out. Among the countless traces of light, suddenly, a small, solidified silver light rushed out from behind Xia Ping, without any sound or presence. The surrounding audience couldn't see any trace of Wei Han, and they didn't know where Wei Han had come from. They could only see the sky full of light, like it was daytime. Swoosh. At this moment, Xia Ping suddenly turned around. In the depths of his golden crow's eyes of hell, he had already seen Wei Han's movements clearly. No matter how big or small, it was impossible to hide from him. Wei Han's movements in his eyes were as slow as a snail. He gently raised his hand and punched towards the void. He didn't use too much strength. This punch accurately landed on Wei Han's crotch. Ah! Wei Han immediately let out a shrill scream. With a crack, it was as though an egg in his body had shattered. An indescribable pain instantly spread throughout his body, as though he was being bitten by countless ants. Such a scream was even more miserable than a pig being slaughtered. Just like that, he fell to the ground without any resistance. He covered his lower body and rolled on the ground. His forehead was also covered in dense sweat. Everyone could see how much pain Wei Han was in right now. No. My egg is broken. It's completely broken. Wei Han screamed as he rolled on the ground, as though he was a eunuch who had been castrated. When the surrounding audience saw this scene, especially the male audience, their hairs immediately stood on end. It was as though the thing in their lower body had been shattered by Xia Ping's punch. They could also feel such pain, and could completely imagine Wei Han's current pitiful state. Sorry, I accidentally hit that place just now. Xia Ping apologized. Be careful of your grandpa, you dog. Xia Ping, you actually used such underhanded methods in secret, shameless to the extreme. You and I cannot exist under the same sky, Wei Han went crazy from anger, loudly shouting. However, because he was too excited, he accidentally pulled the egg. With a crack, it was torn a second time. He was in extreme pain, foaming at the mouth, and directly fainted. This duel, Xia Ping wins. At this moment, a mechanical voice sounded, announcing Xia Ping's victory. Suddenly, a ray of light swept over Wei Han and immediately took his whole body out for emergency treatment. Seeing this scene, countless audience members were in an uproar. Oh my God, that kid is so cruel. Of all places, he specifically hit this place. Wei Han is so miserable. He was actually hit here. Even I'm in pain just looking at it. Will there be any irreparable injuries left? Can he still live? Don't worry, the Holy Land of Taichu has advanced medical technology. Even if that thing is gone, broken limbs can be regrown. I'm just afraid that Wei Han will be traumatized. Yeah, the body can still be repaired, but the traumatized mind is not so easy to repair. Despicable and shameless. That kid must have done it on purpose to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. Chapter 1973. At this moment, the atmosphere among Xian and the others was very solemn. They had lost 2 matches in a row, and they had lost so easily that the kid didn't even reveal any of his trump cards. Damn it. What should we do now? Even Wei Han lost. Didn't they say that only speed was invincible? How come he lost so miserably? Someone gritted his teeth, feeling very unwilling. That's right. I guess Wei Han wasn't fast enough, at least in that kid's eyes. That's why he was able to find his flaws so easily. To be honest, we really underestimated this kid. It's true that he could defeat Feng Xingyu, Zhang Haodong, and Meng Jinshuan. He's really capable. Although Wei Han and Miao Wushuang lost miserably, you have to admit that these two are indeed capable. They are among the top 10 experts in Cyan Jade City. Even they lost, which proves that this kid's strength is not to be underestimated. We have to admit this. What's the use of admitting this? We still can't beat him. Do we have to admit defeat? Admit defeat? How can we admit defeat? If we lose, we'll lose 50 points, which is a huge sum of money. That's right. We have to find out all his trump cards now. Once we know his weaknesses, he won't be able to jump around anymore. That's right. We have to take this kid seriously. We can't underestimate him anymore. Everyone was talking about it. They had completely regarded Xia Ping as their #1 enemy. The 2 consecutive defeats had awakened them, and they no longer dared to look down on Xia Ping. Even though this kid had never been to the Holy Land of Taichu, his combat strength was already extremely powerful among the outer disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu, surpassing most of the disciples. Let me fight the next match. I've already found his flaws. At this time, Xian stood up and said that he would fight this time. What? Xian, you're going to fight? Aren't you going to wait for a few more matches to see how things go? Many people were a little surprised that Xian would fight now. To be honest, Xian was also very powerful. At least, he was among the top 5 experts among the outer disciples of Cyan Jade City. Even Wei Han's combat strength was a little weaker than Xian. After all, he dared to be so arrogant in the Holy Land of Taichu, and he had a group of followers with him, so he had the right to be arrogant. There's no need to watch. Normal people are no match for him. They won't be able to find out anything even if they try to probe him. I'm going to use overwhelming combat power to make this kid submit and show him that there are countless people in the central universe. Xian sneered. His figure flashed, and he immediately jumped onto the dueling platform, facing Xia Ping from afar. Oh, you're the 3rd opponent? Xia Ping was a little surprised. You still haven't woken up after seeing the miserable state of the 2 of them. You still can't tell the difference between us, and you still have the guts to appear in front of me? What a joke. Why don't you have the guts? Do you really think that you're invincible? However, I'm too lazy to argue with you. I'll let you have a taste of my power. Xian sneered. With a clang, the duel bell rang again. As soon as the sound came, Xian immediately made his move. With a gentle point of his finger, an extremely sharp sword chi burst out from his body and slashed towards Xia Ping. In an instant, a transparent sword chi immediately appeared above Xia Ping's head. It was silent and invisible, and the naked eye could not see the appearance and shape of the sword chi. This sword chi descended from the sky just like that, slashing down from the sky with unparalleled ruthlessness. Xia Ping narrowed his eyes because he sensed that this sword chi was unusual. It was not an ordinary sword chi. It did not have the usual sharp murderous aura, nor did it have the sharpness to tear everything apart. This sword chi was between the real and the virtual, extremely strange. In an instant, this sword chi penetrated all the defenses on his body and directly blocked his primordial spirit. Immediately, Xia Ping felt that he had fallen into a boundless illusion. He seemed to have appeared in a world of swords, and countless sword chi were rushing toward his body, trying to cut him into 1,000 pieces. Xia Ping, you're finished. You've been hit by my mind sword. No matter how powerful you are, you can't escape defeat. Seeing that Xia Ping had been hit by his sword, Xian immediately laughed, as if he had finally vented his anger. Mind sword was one of the magic swordsmanship that he had learned. He could use his heart to control the sword, and his spirit to control the sword. He had already cultivated his divine telekinesis into a supreme swordsmanship, which could be used at will to switch between the real and the virtual. If the enemy was hit by his mind sword, they would immediately fall into an endless illusion. Inner demons would be born, and illusions would be everywhere. Often, the enemy would unknowingly die to the inner demons. If the enemy had weak willpower, there was no need to fall into an illusion at all. With the supreme sword chi of the mind sword itself, the enemy's primordial spirit could be instantly destroyed and smashed into pieces. This was a supreme swordsmanship that targeted the primordial spirit. It was unparalleled and extremely terrifying. I see. An attack that targets the primordial spirit. However, I am the least afraid of primordial spirit attacks. You are seeking your own death by doing this. Xia Ping immediately laughed. If it had been any other attack, he might have been a little more careful. However, if it was a divine telekinesis attack, other than a sage, even a powerful cultivator at the peak of the Thunder Retribution realm would not be able to do anything to him. This kid dared to attack him with divine telekinesis. It was like an ant trying to shake a tree. He was overestimating himself. With a thought, a large bell immediately emerged from the depths of his primordial spirit. It was his natal magic treasure, the Bell of Chaos. At that moment, the Bell of Chaos rang and shook left and right, triggering waves of terrifying sound waves. Ripples appeared in the depths of the void and swept in all directions. Don't. Immediately, countless sword chi in the surroundings were instantly destroyed and turned into ashes. The entire world of swords was destroyed, as if it had encountered the sound of the end of the world. No power could resist it. What? Xian was shocked. He had originally wanted to use the power of the Mind Sword to completely detonate the power of the divine telekinesis in the depths of Xia Ping's primordial spirit and blow this kid up. However, before he could do anything, a series of bell sounds rang out. The divine telekinesis sword chi that he bombarded was instantly destroyed. It was as if it was crushing dry weeds and rotten wood. It could not resist at all. Even a series of bell sounds came from the void and directly reached his body, targeting his soul. Bang, bang, bang. In the next second, Xian felt as if his head had been hit countless times. He could vaguely hear the sound of a bell. The primordial spirit in his body was instantly torn apart by the sound waves, unable to resist. Ah! He immediately let out a shrill scream. Blood flowed from his 7 orifices and his primordial spirit was injured. He could not withstand such a backlash at all. Boom! Chapter 1974. What's going on? Xian also lost. Seeing this scene, everyone present was shocked, and their eyeballs almost popped out. Impossible! Xian is a top master who is proficient in the Mind Sword. His combat strength is unparalleled. Even a powerful figure in the early stage of the Thunder Retribution state would be killed by him if he was not careful. How could he be defeated so miserably? Some people couldn't believe this scene. They thought that Xian was one of the top masters in Green Jade City, and he was also proficient in the Mind Sword. He could be called a monstrous genius. How could he be defeated so easily? But now Xian had failed. He was completely unconscious, and no one knew how he had failed. Did this country bumpkin use some tricks? Some people gritted their teeth, thinking that Xia Ping might have used some tricks. Otherwise, how could he defeat Xian so easily? This is the dual field. What tricks can he use? No one can hide from the power set up by the saints. Some people shook their heads. In the holy land of Taichu, no tricks could be used. Damn it, what kind of tricks does Xia Ping have? Why is he so powerful? Many people were unwilling to accept this. They had lost 3 times in a row, which had completely humiliated them. If even a top master like Xian was no match for this kid, then there were really not many others who could beat Xia Ping. As expected of brother Xia, you're too powerful. I was very unconvinced before, thinking that brother Xia might not live up to his reputation. But now I have to admit that he is indeed the #1 genius of our Eastern universe. Although he is not unprecedented, he is indeed one of the few geniuses in the history of the Eastern universe. Look at the faces of those people from the Central Universe. It's like their mouths were stuffed with dead mice. It's so satisfying, isn't it? Before they came here, they were so arrogant, thinking that we came from the countryside and didn't have much ability, and that we came to the holy land of Taichu to occupy their resources. Now they don't dare to say that again. Wei Liangxing and the others were in a very good mood. They felt that Xia Ping's actions had helped the Eastern Universe vent their anger and slapped the faces of those geniuses from the Central Universe. People from other regions of the universe had the same idea. They were gloating because they had been infuriated by the attitude of the local disciples of the holy land of Taichu. Is this what someone from the central cosmos looks like? Why are you so weak to this extent? There isn't even a single person who can fight. Just where did you guys go to learn martial arts? Did you guys even attend classes seriously? Do you guys really know how to fight? You didn't even pose a threat to me. Your fists are as weak as a chicken. How laughable. Xia Ping revealed a look of disappointment. What? Even the geniuses from the central universe in the spectator stands turned red with anger when they heard this. They felt as if smoke was rising from their heads. They glared angrily at Xia Ping, simply wishing they could eat this brat alive. Saying such words in front of everyone was simply a slap to their faces, not leaving them any face at all. However, they had failed 3 times in a row, so they had no way to refute him. After all, facts spoke louder than words. Forget it. It's too much of a waste of time to fight you guys one by one. I won't learn anything by fighting you guys. Xia Ping said indifferently, it's better to end this farce as soon as possible. How about this? It's too easy to fight one person. Pick 100 people and I'll fight 100 of them. He slowly stretched out his right hand and raised one finger, indicating that he would fight 100 people at once. His words were earth-shattering. Fuck me. Has Brother Xia lost his mind? He wants to fight 100 people? Either Brother Xia is crazy or I am. I can't believe I'm hearing such ridiculous words. Brother Xia, don't be impulsive. You can't do this even if you want to die. Do you know what it means to fight 100 people alone? Wei Liangxing and the others were all dumbfounded when they heard this. No matter how imaginative they were, they didn't expect Xia Ping to say such words at this time. It was difficult enough to fight one-on-one, and now he wanted to fight 100 people alone. One had to know that these were all geniuses from the central universe. Every one of them had peerless combat strength and monstrous aptitude. The difference in combat strength between them wasn't particularly large. Even if the number 1 expert of Cyan Jade City appeared, it would be good if he could fight 3 of them alone. If 10 appeared, they could beat the so-called number 1 expert out. Needless to say, if 100 appeared, each of them could turn the other into ashes with a single breath. Brother Wei, you think too highly of these trash. There's no need to worry about me. Let alone 100, even 1,000 are nothing. 100 zeros add up to 0. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, looking disdainfully at the world. Fuck, kill him. Kill this bastard immediately. He's too fucking arrogant. Someone was immediately enraged when he heard this. His face flushed red, and he wanted nothing more than to rush up and beat the brat to a pulp. He wants to fight 100 people at once? Even a peak Thunder Tribulation Realm expert wouldn't dare to be so arrogant when facing us, but this brat dares. Just how arrogant is he going to be before he gives up? Someone trembled in anger. He had never seen someone so arrogant in his life. One had to know that they were all peerless geniuses carefully selected from the 900 million worlds of the central universe. They had also cultivated in the holy land of Taichu for a long time and had earth-shattering cultivation. If geniuses like them appeared in the outside world, they would all be mighty figures. But this brat was so arrogant that he wanted to fight 100 of them alone. If he really won, it wouldn't be as simple as being slapped in the face. It would be like being trampled on and trampled on. They wouldn't have any dignity left. To be honest, after hearing this, even the most cultured of people would be furious. They couldn't stand this brat's arrogant attitude at all. Cut the crap. If he wants to die, then let's fulfill his wish. Fuck, I've never seen such a suicidal request in my life. This is the first time I've ever seen one. But if we do this, will it be in line with the rules? Will it be stopped? What's not in line with the rules? As long as both sides agree, the conditions and number of people can be changed at any time. That's right. Anyway, with the Holy Land of Taichu's restrictive formations, he won't die no matter what. In that case, what are we waiting for? Go up now and beat the crap out of this arrogant brat. That's right. Go all together. Everyone was enraged and their emotions surged. This was already a slap to their own faces. If they could still endure it, then they would truly be cowards. Chapter 1975. In an instant, 100 disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu appeared on the dual platform. They were scattered all around, staring at Xia Ping with a murderous look. If the duel had not yet begun, they would have rushed up and torn Xia Ping to pieces. My God, he's really going to fight. 1 against 100. This is unheard of in the history of the Holy Land of Taichu. This scene is too exaggerated. Isn't Xia Ping courting death? How dare he make such a suicidal request? To be honest, I have never seen such a stupid request in my life. That kid is too arrogant. He doesn't know what he has done. But if that kid really wins, it will be an unprecedented event. It will be enough to leave an indelible record in the Holy Land of Taichu. It will be earth-shattering. Don't joke around. That kid's chance of winning is less than 1 in a billion. If he wants to fight 100, then why doesn't he go to heaven or hell? That's right. If he really wins, I will immediately eat all the shit in the toilet and lick it clean. In the audience seats, many people were talking about it. They were also in an uproar. They did not expect such an absurd thing to happen. It was too shocking. However, they all thought that Xia Ping's move was purely courting death. There was no chance of winning, not at all. You are lucky and honored. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the crowd. You are so lucky to fight with me. You will become the stepping stones for me to become famous in the Holy Land of Taichu. In the future, you will also have a nickname, the people who have been defeated by Xia Ping. Bullshit. What a bullshit nickname. Stop bragging. You want to be famous? I will beat you out of the toilet right now. Let's see if you can still be famous. You want to win against 100 people? Do you really think we are all vegetarians? Cut the crap. Let the duel begin. I want to punch this kid in the face 100 times. Everyone gritted their teeth and couldn't wait for the duel to begin. Only then would they have the opportunity to teach this kid a lesson and vent their anger. With a clang, the duel bell rang again. The eyes of hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu lit up, and they immediately wanted to use their martial arts to completely defeat Xia Ping. They had no intention of holding back at all, and they attacked with all their strength. Buzz, but at this moment, Xia Ping glanced over at this group of people. The space within a radius of 10,000 miles trembled as though the entire world was distorted. A tyrannical will descended upon the entire arena. True illusion mastery, one thought, one world. In an instant, the entire duel arena underwent earth-shaking changes. The void was distorted, and hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were powerless to resist. In an instant, they fell into endless illusions. What? Hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were dumbfounded because they realized that before they could even make a move, they had already left the arena and appeared in another place. It was an abyssal world filled with terrifying abyssal devil chi. In the distance, countless abyss demons appeared. There were glorious sun demons, sky heart demons, 9 nether demons, poison demons, burning demons, rock demons, corrosion demons, and so on. Each of the abyss demons emitted a torrential demonic aura that made people shudder. Moreover, each of the abyss demons and every inch of the land was extremely real. There were no flaws at all. These were all Xia Ping's personal experiences. He had performed the real abyssal world, which was why it was so perfect and realistic. What's going on? Aren't we on the duel arena? Why did we suddenly appear in the abyssal world? Isn't this ridiculous? Someone couldn't help but yell. Fake, it must all be fake. This is an illusion. That kid used an illusion to confuse all of us. Don't believe it, someone yelled, indicating that this must be an illusion. But before he could finish speaking, a burning demon pounced on him. With a bang, the burning demon instantly tore the disciple's body apart and turned him into a torch. That person let out a shrill scream as he felt that he was being burned by the demonic fire. Every inch of his skin, every inch of his muscles, and every bone was about to melt. This kind of pain was simply indescribable. It was as if his soul was burning. Impossible. Why? Isn't this an illusion? Why does it hurt so much? What's going on? What the hell is going on? That person kept screaming. After a while, he stopped screaming and directly turned into a wisp of smoke, disappearing from this world. Such a scream also made everyone's hair stand on end. They were skeptical and no longer thought that this was an illusion, because such a world was too real. The smell of decay, the disgusting demonic aura, the lifeless blood-colored land, and the endless abyssal demons could not be found at all. Damn, is this not an illusion? I have never experienced such a realistic illusion. Maybe this is the real abyssal world. Are you kidding me? We are in the holy land of Taichu. How could we suddenly come to the abyssal world? It must be fake, it must be an illusion. Don't be fooled. Whether it's real or not, even if it's fake, these abyssal demons seem to be able to cause us harm. Don't be stupid enough to give up resistance and be killed by the demons. Even if it's real, so what? As long as we kill all these abyssal demons, we will still be safe. That's right. Let's kill these abyssal demons first and then decide what to do. The disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu immediately made a decision. They could not tell whether this was reality or illusion. They could only take it one step at a time and kill these abyssal demons first. But they had underestimated the strength and numbers of these abyssal demons. They came in wave after wave, and they were endless. They were like a tide that would never stop. In just 6 hours, they killed countless abyssal demons, and the ground was piled up like a mountain. But in the distance, there was still a tide of abyssal demons surging over, endless and endless. They were suddenly desperate, exhausted, and unable to see any hope of survival. Everyone also felt the tragic extent of the war between countless races and abyssal demons in the Archean Age. The endless number of abyssal demons was simply terrifying. Rumble, in an instant, countless abyssal demons swarmed over, instantly drowning this group of people, and biting them until not even their bones were left. In reality, although it seemed that several hours had passed in the illusion, it was only a second in the real world. Bang! Bang! Chapter 1976. The audience was completely stunned by this scene. Although the hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu had been in the illusion for several hours, no one could see what had happened. They only saw Xia Ping glance at them. A second later, hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu twitched as if they had leprosy. They foamed at the mouth and passed out. Such a scene was so horrifying that it shocked countless people. Impossible, what happened just now? This is a big joke. Hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu passed out with just one glance. Damn, did Xia Ping bribe these people to put on a show on the dueling platform? How much money would it take to bribe so many people? It's impossible. Who can do it? Many people in the audience felt ridiculous. Even though they were experienced and knowledgeable, they had never seen such a scene. It was beyond imagination. Xia Ping, what did you do? Why did they become like this? At this time, someone finally couldn't help but shout. He couldn't understand what had just happened. Cheating, he must have cheated. Send someone to investigate him immediately and see what he did. Someone shouted that it was cheating. Otherwise, what happened just now could not be explained. After all, those were 100 disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu, 100 peerless geniuses, not 100 pigs. How could they be defeated with just one glance and fall unconscious on the ground? Didn't that mean that if Xia Ping wanted to, he could kill these hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu in an instant? If that was the case, it was too exaggerated. After all, the people from the Holy Land of Taichu were not weak. Any one of them could be the head of a saint-level sect. I told you you're so weak. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and sighed. The 3 people before barely needed me to do something, but now these hundreds of people are fighting together. I don't even need to use my hands and feet. I can kill them with one glance. Can't you find someone who can fight in such a big place like the Holy Land of Taichu? You're so weak. Don't you have any shame? Do you know what it means to be ashamed? Do you know what it means to be brave after being ashamed? He was like a grandmaster of a generation, giving pointers to the younger generation. But who here wasn't this brat senior? In terms of age, they were more than old enough to be his ancestors. But this brat still dared to show such an attitude and teach them a lesson as if they were his juniors. Instantly, Everyone was fuming with rage and went completely mad. Damn it, this kid is too arrogant. A mere country bumpkin from the Eastern universe actually dares to be so arrogant. This isn't just arrogance anymore. He's crazy beyond belief. Is there no one who can personally teach him a lesson? There are no heroes in this era, so the boy became famous. Many of the spectators were so angry that their lungs almost exploded. If they could, they simply wished they could replace those people and let this kid know why flowers were so red. But now, they could only watch anxiously. When Wei Liangsheng and the others saw this, they looked at each other speechlessly. Although they were more or less confident in Xia Ping and thought that he might be able to defeat his opponent, and they also had a trace of expectation deep in their hearts, they did not expect to see such a situation. The hundreds of disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu were simply like hundreds of pigs. With just a glance, they all fell unconscious. How terrifying and powerful this power was. Like many of the spectators, they had no idea what had just happened. At first, they all thought that the gap between them and Xia Ping should not be too big. Even if he was stronger than them, there should be a limit. But after seeing this scene, they did not dare to say these words. This was not just stronger than them, it was simply to the extent that there was no limit to his strength. Even a Thunder Retribution State cultivator could not compare to him. Wei Liangsheng and the others could not imagine what level Xia Ping's current martial arts realm had reached. Over the dueling field, 7 or 8 sages appeared. They stood in the void, and their bodies formed a space around them, blending into the void. The people in the entire dueling field could not detect the existence of anyone in the air at all. As long as the sages wanted to, no one could detect their existence, not even a trace of their aura. They were like gods that existed in a dimensional world that mortals could not touch. As expected of Brother Baiming's disciple. It's so interesting. His divine will is actually so strong, far beyond the peak of the Thunder Retribution State. How on earth did he cultivate? I guess he ate some kind of treasure. Otherwise, his divine will would not be so strong. Even the cub of a divine beast is no better than this. Of course, his extraordinary talent is also one of the reasons. A strong divine will is just one of the factors. He is not the only creature with a strong divine will in this universe. The problem is that he has mastered the illusion technique, which is really incredible. It is indeed very mysterious. This kind of illusion technique is approaching the realm of perfection. If I did not rely on my Saint Realm cultivation to see through the flaws of the illusion technique at a glance, I am afraid that I would also fall into such an illusion and be unable to extricate myself. His illusion technique has reached the extreme of the virtual realm. There is a kind of transformation between the virtual and the real. Indeed, the aura, color, substance, taste, and touch in this illusion are so real. If that is all, then it is fine. The abyss demons that are created actually have their own personalities, souls, and flesh. Even if they know that this is an illusion, they can't help but take it seriously. It is no wonder that the group of little guys below are no match for him. Against a truly powerful illusion master, it is useless no matter how many people there are. If they cannot see through the illusion, they will be immersed in it for the rest of their lives. Of course, there is also the possibility of using brute force to break the technique. Unfortunately, this kid's magic power is so thick that it is boundless. He can even challenge those of a higher level than him. It is impossible for cultivators of the same level to use brute force to break the technique. There is no need to watch anymore. This kid will definitely win. With such a cultivation in illusion technique, it is like an adult beating a child. Does this kid have any hope of advancing to the Saint Realm? Difficult. It is hard to say. His accumulation is too strong. It is more than 1,000 times harder for him to break through to the Saint Realm than ordinary people. Indeed, the more monstrous one is, the harder it is to transcend. Let's see his fate. If he can transcend, then our human clan will definitely have an incredible saint. Many saints chatted casually as they sat in the void. Chapter 1977. Several hours later, the duel was finally over. Naturally, there was no suspense in the result. Everyone was defeated by Xia Ping. None of them could hurt Xia Ping at all. Most people couldn't resist Xia Ping's illusion. With just one move, they fell into endless illusions. Even if there were disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu with powerful divine senses, it was useless. They were knocked out by Xia Ping with a single punch. Brother Xia, you really won? It's incredible, and it was a complete victory. No one could beat Brother Xia. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would have thought it was an illusion. Are they really disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu? Don't underestimate those disciples from the Holy Land of Taichu. Any one of them could beat us to a pulp. I can only say that Brother Xia is too powerful. Indeed, that illusion technique is too overbearing. Those whose divine senses are not strong enough will immediately fall into a coma. Even if their divine senses are strong enough, as long as they are dazed for a moment, Brother Xia can easily defeat them. No wonder Brother Xia dared to challenge hundreds of people alone. A real illusion grandmaster is not afraid of the threat of numbers. Wei Liangsheng and the others were talking about it. They were all impressed by Xia Ping's martial arts technique. After so many battles, and with so many capable people from the Holy Land of Taichu, many people recognized that the reason why Xia Ping could easily defeat so many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu was because of his illusion technique. However, there was no use in knowing this. When a true illusionary grandmaster used illusions, even if the other party knew that it was an illusion, they would not be able to distinguish between the real and the fake. It had already reached the point where the fake could pass off as the real thing. This made many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu even more desperate. In the end, some disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu directly surrendered to avoid embarrassing themselves. The surrounding audience didn't expect this at all. At first, they just wanted to watch the fun and see how this arrogant genius from the Eastern Universe would be defeated by the geniuses from the Central Universe. Who would have thought that tens of thousands of geniuses, 100 against 1, couldn't even defeat Xia Ping? This fact was unacceptable to them. This is a big joke. Tens of thousands of people can't even defeat one, and there's no rest in between. We've completely lost face. How can we dare to despise people from other universes in the future? It can't be helped. Xia Ping is too monstrous. That illusion technique is simply unsolvable. That's right. Although I don't want to admit it, even I wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. His strength indeed surpasses ordinary disciples of the Grand Elder Holy Land. There's no denying it. Everyone clenched their fists helplessly. They had no choice but to admit Xia Ping's strength, because strength could not be faked. Whether he was truly strong or not, they would know once they fought. Now, it was not just one battle, but hundreds of battles in a row. No matter how hard the geniuses from the Holy Land of Taichu tried, they were still easily defeated. Wait, he won 10,000 people. If he can earn 50 points for every person he wins, doesn't that mean he can get 500,000 points this time? Someone suddenly thought of this and couldn't help but shout. That's right, I almost forgot about that. I was completely shocked by this ending. 500,000 points, it's an astronomical number. Even a mighty figure at the peak of the Thunder Retribution realm would have to spend a lot of time and risk his life countless times to earn 500,000 points. My God, he just entered the Holy Land of Taichu, and he actually earned 500,000 points. That's unbelievable. Doesn't that mean he can buy anything he wants? This is going against the heavens. Everyone held their breath. Hearing the astronomical amount of 500,000 points, their faces showed extreme shock. Some people were even envious, jealous, and hated that they couldn't wait to replace him. Outer disciples like them often risked their lives to earn a little bit of points, but they might not even be able to accumulate 10,000 points. Now, this kid had actually earned 500,000 points when he just entered the sect. Why was the gap between people so big? It was like a chasm from the very beginning. At this moment, on the arena, Xia Ping didn't immediately go down. He directly said, "Boring, really boring. I came to the Holy Land of Taichu to find masters and find opportunities to break through. But what's going on now? The Holy Land of Taichu is so big, but there isn't even one person who can fight. I'm really disappointed. Do you people from the Central Universe only know how to take pills and don't know how to fight? Don't you know how to cultivate without the help of resources and elixirs? Then what's the difference between you and pigs? What? Hearing this, many geniuses from the Central Universe were immediately angry. This bastard one, so be it, but now he was being domineering, saying that they were all pigs and wasting resources. Xia Ping, don't push your luck. You can't insult the humans of the Central Universe. Take back what you said immediately, or you can't imagine the consequences. Someone cursed. Insult? Is it insulting to say something that's the truth? Then take it as an insult. If anyone still isn't convinced, just come up to the arena. I'll be here to fight you to the end. Xia Ping was trying to goad more people into fighting for him. If he could trick more people, he would be able to get more points. This was simply giving him money. Damn, this kid is too arrogant. I really want to go up and kill him. Someone with a bad temper couldn't take it anymore and wanted to go up to the arena and fight to the death with Xia Ping. Don't be impulsive. Don't fall for this despicable villain's trick. Someone next to him immediately pulled him back. This guy is proficient in illusion techniques and is invincible among his peers. You won't be teaching him a lesson. You'll be giving him points, understand? Hearing this, that person immediately shivered and came to his senses. He also remembered Xia Ping's strength. With his own strength, he probably wouldn't be able to do anything to Xia Ping. What's wrong? All of you are cowards. Weren't you arrogant as hell just now? Did you want to teach me a lesson? Where is the lesson? I'm waiting for it in the arena. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and give it to me. I can't wait any longer. I'm burning with impatience. Understand? Xia Ping shouted and continued to add fuel to the fire. The group of people fell silent. None of them dared to speak. They lowered their heads like cowards. No one dared to go up. Chapter 1978. Shameless bastard, you're still not satisfied with 500,000 points. You still want to cheat people. If you really go to the duel arena, I'll still teach you a lesson. What lesson? You only know how to cheat people. Shameless. Yin Shishing spat at Xia Ping, realizing Xia Ping's sinister intentions. You're right. Don't fall for it. Don't give him a single point. If he really goes to the duel, he'll be helping the enemy. Everyone nodded. They also saw through Xia Ping's scheme at a glance. He had clearly tasted the sweetness and thought it was a good way to earn a lot of points, so he was still provoking fights here and there. If some hothead couldn't stand the provocation and agreed to this bastard's duel, they would not only be beaten up, but even their points would be taken away. The corners of Wei Liangxing and the others' mouths twitched. They looked at Xia Ping speechlessly. Did he really think that no one would dare to challenge him at this point? Did he really think that everyone was stubborn? After all, they were all peerless geniuses and not idiots. Naturally, they would weigh the pros and cons. It seems that there are no more fools. Xia Ping felt that it was a pity. His battle record just now was too fierce and scared many people. Those who had seen his battle probably wouldn't dare to challenge him if they didn't have some ability. But it didn't matter much. He also knew that this was a one-time deal. It was already a pleasant surprise to get 500,000 points, which was equivalent to a windfall. He didn't say anything else and directly left the duel arena. But the matter didn't stop there. A day later, the news spread like a tornado throughout the entire Holy Land of Taichu. Both the outer and inner disciples knew about it, and even some sages knew about it. It immediately shocked countless geniuses from the Central Universe. Are you kidding me? A new student from the Eastern Universe defeated tens of thousands of outer disciples, not one-on-one, but 1 against 100. Are you sure this isn't a joke? When an inner disciple heard the news, he immediately thought it might be a rumor. How could such a ridiculous thing happen in the world? It was impossible. It's true. Someone recorded it and can watch it at any time. There are hundreds of thousands of people watching it. It can't be faked. Someone immediately took out a video and said that it was real. There was a record of the battle on the dueling platform, and countless people had watched the battle, so it was impossible for it to be fake. After watching the video, many of the inner sect disciples fell silent. They were unable to refute anything. Seeing those outer sect disciples being beaten up like grandchildren by Xiaoping, they were even more shocked. So that's how it is. This guy is an illusion grandmaster. No wonder hundreds of people are not his opponent. An illusion grandmaster is simply an unfathomable existence. Indeed, with the descent of the illusion, those without a strong enough soul will immediately sink into it, unable to extricate themselves. If he can block it, he'll live. If he can't, he'll die. What a monster! However, it's not that easy to become an illusion grandmaster. You need to be talented, born with a soul energy 10 times stronger than ordinary people, and you also need to have a thorough understanding of illusions. To be honest, there are also illusionists in the holy land of Taichu, but they're not as freakish as this kid. They're still within the scope of ordinary people's understanding. Many of the inner sect disciples sighed. They were not fools. Naturally, they could see from the video how powerful Xiaoping was. He definitely did not use any cheating to win. He was completely invincible. If they were also on the dueling platform, their performance would not be much better than those who fought with Xiaoping. Oh no, that Xiaoping is here. He directly came to the territory of our inner sect disciples and openly challenged us. He said that he wants to challenge a group of us. If we don't dare to accept the challenge, we'll be dogs and admit that we're the sick men of the central government. All of a sudden, an inner disciple ran over hurriedly and revealed a piece of earth-shattering news. What? This bastard, he defeated the outer sect disciples, and now he wants to cause trouble for us inner sect disciples. Is he looking for death? Does he really think that his life is too long? An inner sect disciple immediately jumped up and scolded angrily. That kid's cultivation is at the peak of the Dharma plane at most. Does he know that our inner sect disciples are at least in the thunder calamity state, and there are even monsters who are half a step into the same plane? How dare he challenge us and call us sick men of the central government? Who gave him such courage? Many inner sect disciples were shocked and angry, because this was simply unheard of. Since the birth of the holy land of Taichu, no outer sect disciple had ever dared to challenge them in person and even dared to challenge them to their face, calling them sick men of the central government. This was no longer as simple as arrogance. It was simply a slap in the face of the inner sect disciples and the central universe's human race. It was simply unscrupulous. Ignore him. He's just a little outer sect disciple, a clown, and a new student. If he wants to challenge us, we have to agree. Who does he think we are? Let him bark outside. An inner sect disciple sneered. He had seen this kind of provocation many times, but he would not fall for it. As long as they ignored the kid's provocation, the kid would naturally leave. Most importantly, so what if they agreed to the kid's challenge? If they won against the kid, they would gain nothing. Instead, they would be labeled as bullying the weak. After all, wasn't it natural for a thunder calamity state cultivator to defeat a Dharma plane cultivator? No one would suspect anything. Others would only praise the kid for his courage and glory even if he lost. But if they lost, they would be laughed at for the rest of their lives. If they couldn't even defeat a junior in the Dharma plane, how could they, a thunder calamity state cultivator, advance by taking pills? They had no hope of becoming a saint. After thinking about it, the kid had all the advantages and wouldn't lose out no matter what. It would be strange if they agreed to the challenge. Of course, if they could easily defeat Xiaoping, they wouldn't mind teaching this kid from the Eastern Universe a lesson and letting him know the power of the holy land of Taichu. But after watching the video, they were all at a loss. The title of Illusion Grandmaster was too powerful. He could challenge people of a higher level, regardless of the difference in level. Even if they went up to the duel, they wouldn't have much confidence in defeating Xiaoping. If that was the case, they wouldn't dare to accept the challenge and show off their status as senior brothers of the holy land of Taichu. It's over. Senior brothers, this is bad. Chapter 1979. What? Many inner disciples were shocked when they heard the news. They didn't expect the situation to deteriorate to this extent in such a short time. Didn't we tell those bastards not to fight him? Why can't they control themselves? Are they stupid? An inner disciple cursed. Senior brother, it's not that we can't control ourselves, but that kid's mouth is too vicious. He won't let us off easily. That person gritted his teeth and said, that kid said that if we don't dare to fight him and are afraid that he's too strong, he can stop using his hands. If that doesn't work, he can stop using his feet. If he's still afraid, he can even close his eyes. The most despicable thing is that he even provoked us, saying that if an inner disciple can make him move 3 steps, he'll lose. It's obvious that we couldn't sit still after hearing those words. We're also people with pride. If our enemies can't win even if they tie their feet and close their eyes, then we'll really become a laughingstock. How can we live if this gets out? Some hot-tempered disciples couldn't take it anymore and charged forward. He had a helpless expression. Hearing this, all the inner court disciples felt helpless. That kid was too ruthless. His words were simply forcing them into a hopeless situation. If they still didn't dare to agree to the duel, then they would be no different from trash. Even a pig wouldn't be able to tolerate such a thing. How strong are those inner disciples? Do they pose any threat to him? Someone asked immediately. They're at least in the early stage of the tribulation realm. Some are even in the middle stage, but they're no match for Xia Ping. They fell into an illusion and fell unconscious before they could even get within 10 meters of him. That person answered. Many inner disciples gasped. They had already guessed that Xia Ping might be able to challenge those at a higher level, but it was still unbelievable when it really happened in front of them. After all, Xia Ping was a tribulation realm powerhouse, an existence that stood at the peak of mortals. He was the strongest person below the saints. Now, he was defeated by Xia Ping with just a glance. Even if illusionists were very powerful, this was too much. How could they live? How could they be reasonable? Senior brother, are we just going to let that kid strut around in the inner sect like this? That's right. If we allow this kid to wreak havoc wherever he goes, our central cosmos will lose all face. Don't hit people in the face when you hit them, and don't point out their shortcomings when you scold them. But that brat has all the seats, and he came here specifically to slap us in the face. If we can still tolerate this, then we are really cowards. I must teach him a lesson. No matter what, I must teach him a lesson. I can't take this lying down. Many of the inner disciples were completely enraged, gnashing their teeth at Xia Ping. Before this, they had wanted to avoid the battle and ignore the other party's challenge. But now that the brat had come knocking on their door and beaten up a group of inner court disciples, and even left a few words of humiliation on their foreheads, the conflict between them could not be resolved. Doing so was basically invading someone's home. But that kid is a master of illusions. If we can't block his illusions, it doesn't matter how many people we send. How can we beat him? We'll just be asking to be humiliated. Someone said in a low voice, pointing out the crux of the matter. Don't worry, I already have a way to deal with him. The Holy Land of Taichu has also done a lot of research on illusionists. Many top-notch mighty figures know the threat of illusionists, so they have been studying their weaknesses. An inner court senior brother said confidently, after many years, a senior finally came up with a secret technique to deal with illusionist masters. Its name is brain sealing technique. As long as you successfully cultivate this secret technique, you can immediately seal your own sea of consciousness and isolate any divine sense power, so you won't be affected by the illusions of an illusionist. Of course, to successfully cultivate this secret technique, you need to be extremely talented. Many people can't even get started in their entire lives. Even if you want to exchange for this secret technique now, you won't be able to succeed even if you make a last-minute effort. But there are many such experts in the inner court. Let's immediately ask them to come out and teach this kid a lesson, so that we can vent our anger. Hearing this, many of the inner court disciples were overjoyed. If they could target that kid's weaknesses and isolate his illusions, then he would be like a tiger without claws and teeth, no threat at all. For a time, they immediately went out to find those masters who had learned the brain sealing technique. But a few days later, the situation was completely beyond their expectations. Damn, This kid is not an illusionist master, but an illusionist grandmaster. Sealing the brain's divine sense is useless. He can also deceive the 5 senses, even the 6 senses. This kind of illusion has reached the realm of creating reality from illusion. Those illusions are both fake and real. We'll just die if we go up there. A group of inner court disciples went up there and were fooled like fools. They even drooled. Not only did we drool, but that son of a bitch Xia Ping is shameless to the extreme. He actually made us fall into a dreamlike illusion and made us believe it was real. When we woke up, we actually fucked the wall, swollen, and became the laughing stock of countless people. Fucking the wall is not bad. I almost fucked my brother next to me. I thought he had turned into a woman. I've lost all my face, I've lost all my face. Son of a bitch Xia Ping, you and I are irreconcilable. I will fight with you for the rest of my life. Just you wait. Many inner court disciples were extremely sullen and angry. They hated Xia Ping. They had never been so humiliated in their lives. It was simply the darkest day of their lives. Another day passed. Xia Ping was still looking for people to challenge in the inner court, but after what happened a few days ago, no one dared to fight Xia Ping anymore. Even if they were ridiculed and cursed, they would collectively hide like turtles and not come out. They even treated Xia Ping as heir. Anyway, as long as they were unwilling, Xia Ping couldn't force them to go up to the duel stage. But the entire inner sect was in a foul atmosphere because of him, with chickens flying and dogs jumping. After this duel, he gained another 500,000 points. In addition to the previous points, he had a total of 1 million points. Sigh, being invincible is so lonely. No one actually dares to challenge me. Do you think there's any meaning in such a life? Can't I find someone who can fight? Xia Ping sighed. Many inner court disciples' mouths twitched and their hearts fluctuated. They wanted to hammer this bastard to death. Oh, then do you want to fight with me? At this moment, an old man in a cyan Taoist robe appeared in front of Xia Ping with a faint smile. Everyone was overjoyed. They finally found someone who could deal with this bitch, because this was a saint, an elder of the holy land of Taichu. Elder, I'm still a child. How can you bully a child like this? Xia Ping blinked. He didn't expect that a saint would be drawn out because of this matter. The corner of the cyan-robed old man's mouth twitched. He also had to admit that in terms of age alone, Xia Ping was less than 100 years old. He could indeed only be regarded as a child. The surrounding inner court disciples all cursed in their hearts. What a shitty child. Did he have no shame? Was there a child like him? He almost turned the inner court upside down. Chapter 1980. Elder, please take care of this kid. This bastard is making trouble everywhere. He even blocked the door and yelled at us like a hooligan. He's making us restless. An inner disciple said with grief and indignation. These days, they had been annoyed by Xia Ping. They had never been so aggrieved in their lives. It was as if they owed money to a loan shark, and they were even blocked in public. If they could, they wanted to gang up on him. However, this was the holy land of Taichu, and private fights were not allowed. Otherwise, they would be expelled from the holy land of Taichu immediately. What do you mean by making trouble everywhere? I'm asking senior brothers for advice on martial arts. I'm diligent and eager to learn. Why is it making trouble in front of senior brothers? Is it wrong to ask questions? Xia Ping blinked his eyes, showing a puzzled look. Asking for advice, my ass. Still pretending to be innocent. Everyone wanted to punch this kid in the face. This bastard was stronger than them, and he still wanted to ask for advice? They had never seen a professor ask a primary school student for advice. This bastard was clearly here to earn points. Did he think they were a human moving points bank? He came to withdraw money every day without any fees. Ahem. The elder in the cyan robe coughed and said, "It's right to ask for advice, but you can't go too far. Let's stop here this time. Don't continue to make trouble, understand? Well, then I can't farm monsters? No, I think I can't continue to ask senior brothers for advice on martial arts." Xia Ping blinked his eyes. Farm monsters. Hearing this, everyone was so angry that their lungs were about to explode. This bastard finally said what he really meant. He completely regarded them as monsters in a game, the kind that could earn points by killing monsters and dropping treasures. It was too abominable. How much did this guy underestimate them? They were so angry now that they wanted to cut Xia Ping into pieces. They had never been looked down upon like this in their lives. Don't continue to make trouble. Hearing this, the elder in the cyan robe waved his hand and said angrily, "Yes, elder." Xia Ping nodded with a look of regret. It seemed that his journey of earning points by killing monsters was coming to an end. After all, this matter had even alarmed the elders of the Holy Land of Taichu, which meant that his action could not continue. Of course, even if he continued and no elders appeared, he wouldn't be able to get many points. This group of inner court disciples were scared of him. No matter how he provoked them, they seemed to be indifferent. In fact, he had already made preparations to stop. Now that even the elder had appeared, he would take this opportunity to step down. Many of the inner court disciples were unwilling to accept this, and they gnashed their teeth in anger. This bastard grandson of a turtle had caused so much trouble in the inner court, causing them to have chicken feathers and duck blood. Now, with just a few words, everything was completely settled. They really treated this brat as a brat who was causing trouble. It was simply too unfair. However, they didn't dare to say anything in front of the elder, so they could only swallow their anger and swear to themselves that they would definitely get back at them. Just like that, the curtain fell on the grand show, and Xia Ping returned to his residence in Green Jade City. At this moment, in a great hall in the Holy Land of Taichu, the elder in the cyan robe returned to the hall, and 5 or 6 elders were also here. "Oh, has it been resolved?" An elder asked. "It's done. That kid knows his limits and went back obediently." The green-robed old man smiled. An elder in a yellow robe stroked his gray beard and said, "Why should we stop him? The Holy Land of Taichu used to be a pool of stagnant water, too peaceful. Although many disciples occasionally competed with each other, they didn't have much energy. But as soon as this kid appeared, he immediately stirred up the entire Holy Land of Taichu, stirring up countless disciples' enthusiasm for learning martial arts. This is a good thing." Indeed, there were a few extremely talented but mischievous little fellows in the past. This old man has been forcing them to cultivate, but they were all too lazy to do anything. They've been slacking off for 3 days and drying their nets for 2 days. Now, after being provoked by this kid, they are all shouting and working hard to cultivate so that they can take revenge. I have never seen them so diligent. A white-robed elder chuckled and was in a good mood. Originally, those brats were extremely proud of their talent and didn't cultivate hard all day. But now that they had been defeated like this, they finally knew what it meant to be courageous after being humiliated. He was happy to see these things happen. This is the so-called catfish effect. Having such a troublemaker is also a good thing for the Holy Land of Taichu. Maybe there will be a few human sages. The yellow-robed elder smiled. As an elder of the Holy Land of Taichu, of course, he felt that the stronger the disciples, the better, because he stood at a high enough height and considered the future of the entire race. If the human race wanted to become the top race in the universe, it would be impossible without enough sages. If there were not enough sage-level experts, the entire race would probably be in great danger. But if there were enough experts, they could occupy more and more resources, and the race would become stronger and stronger. The catfish effect is indeed a good thing. The green-robed old man nodded. But I'm afraid that it's not a catfish, but a shark that eats all the small fish. That would be a big problem. Everything needs to have a limit. The current limit is just right. There will be tension and oppression, but there will be no despair. He had the pearl of wisdom in his hands and had calculated everything. The elders nodded and agreed with the green-robed old man's statement. But Xia Ping made a lot of money this time. He earned 1,000,000 points. I don't know how he wants to use it. I remember when I first entered the Holy Land of Taichu, I didn't know how long it took me to earn 100 points. The green-robed old man sighed. The other elders were also a little envious. It was true. They were also disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu and worked hard to get some points. But this kid had earned 1,000,000 points not long after entering the sect. It was really frustrating to compare oneself with others. But Xia Ping had earned it through legitimate means, so no one dared to say anything. Half an hour later, Xia Ping returned to his residence. Beep. At this time, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations to the host for arousing the hatred of many disciples of the Holy Land of Taichu. This time, you have received a total of 20 hatred crystals. I hope the host can keep up the good work. Xia Ping was in a good mood. Sure enough, he had gained a lot of hatred this time. It was worth it to cause trouble everywhere and attract hatred. If he added the previous hatred crystals, his current hatred crystals had reached 580, and he was not far from getting 1,000 hatred crystals. Chapter 1981. Let's see what treasures the Holy Land of Taichu has first. Xia Ping touched his chin. He gently tapped on the communicator and clicked on the treasure exchange list of the Holy Land of Taichu. There was a dazzling array of treasures on the list, and all kinds of universal-level treasures appeared. Not to mention anything else, there were countless panacea listed on the list. Although their value varied due to their age and rarity, the average price was about 30,000 points per plant. According to his current points, he could exchange for 33 panacea. But it did not mean that the more panacea, the better. He still had to find something that suited him. There are so many treasures. Xia Ping looked at the screen in front of him, and immediately there were martial arts, cultivation, secret techniques, magic treasures, technology, mineral resources, elixirs, spiritual medicine, rare treasures, and so on. Under each major category, there were many smaller categories, reaching tens of thousands of categories. They were so densely packed that it was simply too much for one's eyes to take in. Quick, what panacea are there? The green ox asked eagerly. Xia Ping nodded and immediately clicked on the category of panacea. Suddenly, countless pictures and text introductions appeared. Purple blood heavenly fruit, 35,000 points each. Colorful spinning top flower, 23,000 points each. Red water original een grass, 44,000 points each. Damn, aren't these panacea extinct and can't be bought outside? Some of them are restricted from being auctioned, and they don't even appear in the auction house at all. Now, all of them are available here, and they can be bought for only tens of thousands of points, and they're even freely available. This is too much. When did the human race become so rich? The green ox could not believe his eyes. Even though he used to follow the mountain river saint, he had never seen such a wide variety of panacea. Even many panacea that the mountain river saint wanted but could not get, were now freely available and could be bought with some bullshit points. This was really too exaggerated. This was also natural. The era that the mountain river sage lived in was the immemorial era. At that time, although the human race had already risen, it was not considered one of the top races in the universe. It was still slightly inferior to the other powerful races. But after hundreds of millions of years, human race experts emerged in large numbers. They expanded their territory and fought in all directions, gradually becoming one of the top races in the universe. The territory they occupied was so large that it was unimaginable for the human race in the primordial era. Therefore, the human race occupied far too many resources, so many that even the green ox was shocked. It was like a country bumpkin entering a city and seeing the prosperity of a city for the first time. In fact, the current human race was much stronger than the human race of the primordial era. You're really ignorant. Xia Ping, hurry up and look at the secret technique section. Corinne, however, was a bit calm, because when he appeared, human race was already a peak race, so he naturally knew the strength of human race, and the amount of resources they could collect was even more unimaginable, so this was nothing. Xia Ping nodded and opened it again. Immediately, a series of secret techniques appeared on it. Indestructible golden body, sky code, void tower, phoenix wings, chaos starlight diagram, and other secret techniques immediately appeared before him. This is too much, it's really too much. At this time, Corinne saw these secret techniques appear, and the corners of his mouth trembled. These secret techniques are all forbidden techniques in the universe. They are not allowed to circulate at all, and there is no way to buy them. Back then, the old master wanted to see this chaos starlight diagram and paid a huge price, almost half of his wealth, but now you can see it for only 30 points. This is too shameless. Do they really think these secret techniques don't cost money? He was also stimulated, and he wanted to die of grief and indignation. Because he had followed the saints of the stars, he naturally knew how difficult it was to become a rogue cultivator. There was no secret technique at all, and he could only go to the major auctions to buy it, and even if he paid a huge price, he might not be able to buy it. If he wanted resources, he could only fight for them himself, and every step was difficult. If he offended someone and had no backing, he could only run away. Now that he saw the list above, he was simply sad. Back then, the saints of the stars had paid a huge price to obtain this secret technique, but it only cost 30 points in the holy land of Taichu. Why was the gap between people so huge? He also remembered the ecstasy of the saints of the stars when they exchanged for this secret technique, and the proud look on the face of the person who sold them the secret technique. Obviously, the other party did not expect that they would be willing to pay such a high price for such a rubbish book, and it would probably be difficult to find such a sucker. For Xia Ping, of course, he did not feel so emotional, because he had the system and could exchange for more precious secret techniques at any time. The secret technique exchange from the holy land of Taichu was just the icing on the cake, not a timely help. Naturally, he did not understand the value of these secret techniques. But Corinne was different. He was very clear about the meaning behind these secret techniques. A secret technique was enough to destroy a powerful country in the universe. A holy medicine was enough to make countless powerful people go crazy, and blood would flow like rivers. A holy artifact was enough to suppress the fate of a sect. Of course, it was not so easy to enter the holy land of Taichu. Even in the 900 million worlds of the central universe, only a handful of humans from each world could enter the holy land of Taichu. Not to mention the countless planets in other universe regions, and the number of people who could enter the holy land of Taichu and the Palace of Darkness was pitiful, and not many people could enjoy such benefits. Back then, the saints of the stars could also join a holy land of the human race like the holy land of Taichu. The problem was that he had risen from humble beginnings, and he was proud and arrogant. When he first joined, he could only become a peripheral member of the holy land of Taichu. After all, he did not come from the holy land of Taichu, and was only a lone cultivator. It was impossible for him to get such a high status as soon as he joined. The holy land of Taichu was very big, and there were many saints, but in fact, there were also factions. Therefore, he wanted to improve his strength, and when he joined the holy land of Taichu, he would immediately become a core member of the holy land of Taichu. He did not expect to be killed by other saints just because of fighting for treasures. What should I buy? Xia Ping looked at the treasures and was a little overwhelmed. Although he had 1,000,000 points, which seemed like a lot, if he really wanted to spend them all, it would only take a moment. 4 real treasures, 1,000,000 points was just a drop in the bucket. Xia Ping, buy that immortal level plant life, buy it immediately. At this time, Corinne immediately shouted, with this immortal level plant life, it can immediately greatly enhance the power of the stars. It can cross the ordinary areas of the central universe, and even go deep into the mystic zones. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.